The Youth Leadership Debate is a program that provides the platform for young people to use their voices and knowledge to drive conversations for national development. It is an initiative of the Nigeria Youth Futures Fund, NYFF, implemented by Leap Africa in collaboration with the MacArthur Foundation and the Ford Foundation. The 2022 Youth Leadership Debates also aims to give confidence to the voice of young people and leveraging on it as an effective tool to cause a transformed Nigeria. Its goal is to provide capacity building to young people across tertiary institutions and support them to critically evaluate information, advocate from the point of knowledge, and to collectively shape their future of Nigeria. The conversations led on the platform of the Youth Leadership Debate goes on to equip the contestants with needed knowledge to be active citizens leading a change. The NSAS protest of 2020 showed that young people can speak with one voice and cause a change. The Sorosoke movement, which means to speak up in Yoruba language, a ripple effect of young Nigerians' resistance to police brutality through the NSAS protest, was an eye-opener for government, the youth, and development agencies. Now, while it is important to encourage young people to Sorosoke, they must be guided to do it the right way. More so, institutions of higher learning have a leading role in providing solutions to the myriad of challenges facing society, cutting-edge research and innovative activities. Universities are places where young people are equipped to engage in intellectual debates that have national relevance and to provide solutions to socio-economic issues. So, Leap Africa, through the Youth Leadership Development Programs, build the capacity of young Nigerians in leadership and active participation in the nation's affairs, helping to shape the country's future for long-term development.
Speak up for them. You need to advocate for them. You need to be sure they are making the connections, the right connections. The third thing is reinforcement. What are you reinforcing? Bad behaviors, disrespect, distrust, dishonesty, fraud. We are living in a country where it's okay to be fraudulent. What is it? It's no big deal. That's where we found ourselves. And this must change. And so you must stand for something. You must also unlock the power and the voices of people as our organization is doing. There is power in your hands. And there are three actors. Some of you will be orchestrators, agitators, and some of you will be innovators. And maybe some of you in this room currently are, and those of us watching online. But then, there is actually not one strong feature or player. You need a combination of these players. You need to work with a group of people who are like-minded. Again, going back to my points. If you desire a change in Nigeria, and if you desire to use your own voice to build this country, to create a prosperous Nigeria or Africa, then you need to know how you are aligned and who you are aligning with by identifying all these three players and bringing them into the room. I will ask you some questions as I try to round off my points. What is your agency? There are some things that are buzzwords today. Youth agency, sustainability, social capital, woman capital, and all these fancy things. And some of them we need to unpack truthfully. Some of them we need to really bring to our own local context. So I ask you, what is your agency? What do you want to be known for? What motivates you? What drives you? What gets you angry? Leap Africa has a book called Rage for Change that was published maybe 2008 or 2010. And that book came from the passion of people who were enraged by situation. And so when I ask you today about activating your own voice and the voices of others, what is your pain for this country? It could be simple. It doesn't have to be the firearms debate or the other things we talked about. It could be as simple as the roads are bad. infrastructural deficit, housing deficit, technology divide or digital divide, and the lack of pay or fair wages and whatnot. On the unfairness you see. We also have unlooking attitude in Nigeria. That is actually one that someone can even speak up on, where people are not treated badly and then you're walking away. Sometimes there's traffic in Lagos and you're wondering what's the cause of the traffic or congestion. People are just passing by to see a dead body on the road. Nobody is actually stopping to move the body away. We unlook and we are looking on. This has got to change. And so for an organization such as ours, Leap Africa, where youth voices, youth-led actions, youth-led solutions, very critical for nation building, is why we are very excited about activating your voice and others. There's power in your voice. No one should silence you, but you have to be guided about how you also present and use and leverage your voice. As a leader, because I believe everyone here is a potential leader or even is a leader as of today, you have the power to galvanize a huge following, which can go left, which can go right. So what do you want to use your voice for? What do you want to be known for? It's also great and nice when you're sure about the kind of career you want to pursue. I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a legal analyst, I want to be what? A digital entrepreneur. So many aspirations. But beyond all of that, what do you want to be known for? Because all of that is also good. But what is that one thing that brings and unites all of us together? What is, and how are you not persuading people from what is right? Moral sense of compass. We need to have that. And as I close, I leave you with thoughts echoing in your mind about how to use your voices. Be sure to activate your voice and those of others around you, because you carry an influence, you wield a strong influence. The change is now, the change is you, and we are counting on you for the change we want to see in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kenny. Another round of applause for Executive Director. That was absolutely phenomenal. I don't know about you guys, but I was taking notes. I hope that you were taking notes. And I'll just like to reiterate some of the things that she said, just in case, you missed some of these things. She also emphasized the importance of being bold. When you speak out for what is just, speak out for what is fair, and you do it respectfully. I want you to keep that word in mind, that respectfully, because I'll come back to it shortly. And there was another thing that she made mention of that I want us to think about again. What are you reinforcing? And she said that now in Nigeria, we're reinforcing a lot of things that are not ethical. It feels like, fraud is now okay. We're constantly disrespecting one another on social media. I mean, you can't see me anyways, so I can say whatever I want to say to you. I don't think that we should be that kind of people in this room. And if you were like that, today's the day to change. So I told you to keep one of the words that I just mentioned in mind, which is being respectful when you stand up to speak against injustice and unfairness. And this leads me to the next thing that I'd be talking about with us, and the next person that I'll be calling up to speak to us. One of the programs that we're doing in Leap Africa that has brought us here today and has birthed the Youth Leadership Conference, which is themed I Go Yan, Activating Youth Voices for Change, is the Youth Leadership Development Program. And this program has two tracks, the sustainability track and the advocacy track. Now, the advocacy track has the debates, which is a platform for young people to advocate for what they want to see in Nigeria, to speak about topical issues, to do it boldly, but to do it respectfully. And we also have the sustainability track, which encourages and funds young people to go into their communities and effect change. So you go into a community, you see the things that are going wrong in that community, you come up with a solution, and we support you to bring to life that solution that you have seen so that you can make a difference in the communities that you have identified. Now, to further emphasize this, we're going to be calling up a few young people to speak to us about the change that they have effected in communities around Nigeria. And to take us further into that, I'd like to call on one of the bright minds in Leap Africa. She's a program officer in Leap Africa. Please join me as we welcome Towo Jesudo Odede. We can make the applause louder and keep it going.
Thank you, Joy. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Kenny, for that phenomenal charge. Thank you, as always. All right, so just as Joy said, my name is Towo Jesudo Odede. I'm a programs officer at Leap Africa, and I'm happy to have you all here today. So I'm going to be talking to us about the change projects. Now, the change projects. Before I even go into that, I'd like to even give a quick brief about the Youth Leadership Development Program. Just as you know, the Youth Leadership Development Program is designed to equip and empower young people like yourselves with the tools, the skills, and the resources that you need to become change makers in your communities. Right? And so I believe that the participants that we have here, some of them that are here, have gone through the change project, gone through the Youth Leadership Development Program. You went through the virtual course, the live review sessions. If you enjoyed the program, let me see your hand. Make some noise. Woo! All right, thank you. So yes, the program is designed to equip you with the tools and the resources that you need to be change makers in your community. And this brings me to the change projects. So the change projects are like community projects, right, that participants take part in. So what we do is we ask participants to form teams of 3 to 5 people, you know, who would then provide or develop solutions, right, to solutions for combating social challenges in their communities, right? Through the change projects, we've seen fantastic, phenomenal projects, right? The change projects are focused on thematic areas such as advocacy, health, education, civic participation, employment. We've seen projects under health. We've seen projects under agriculture, ICT, and many more thematic areas like that. And so what we do is, like I said, we ask the participants to form teams, and then they design their proposals and share with us. This year alone, we have, first of all, we have representation in 400 tertiary institutions in Nigeria. Please make some noise. We reach 400 tertiary institutions in Nigeria with close to 5,000 participants across the 6 geo zones in Nigeria. Please make some noise. So yes, the Youth Leadership Development Program is spreading across the country. And so this year, for the change projects, we received over 200 proposals, right, based on the thematic areas I just mentioned: health, advocacy, civic participation, and right after I receive the proposals, there's a screening process. You know, we go through the proposals, we screen them. We have internal judges screen. We have external judges also screen those proposals. And then this year, we selected 100 impactful projects. Please make some noise. We selected 100 impactful projects. And these projects were now funded from 100 teams. They received, they were awarded sub-grants up to $500 to now implement their change projects. Now, I don't just want to keep talking and saying change projects in the community, this and that. We've seen through our projects, even from past participants, projects that have gone on to, you know, do amazing things in the community. We've seen people who have gone on to set up foundations, right, as a result of their change projects. So the change project doesn't just end after 4 weeks, where you say, oh, so I've completed my project, I received my certificate from the program, and that's it. No. Even after the change projects, after the YLDP, you can go on to set up foundations, go on and turn your change projects into social enterprises. The goal is to reach people and combat social challenges. And now, even from the projects, we've seen fantastic ideas. And this is just like a testament to the fact that young people are solution-driven, they are interested, they are passionate about the problems in Nigeria. And now I don't want to keep talking. We have representatives from some of the change project teams here in Nigeria. We have representatives from Team DAM for IDPs. So that's, oh yes, that's them on the screen. So DAM for IDP stands for Defensive Action Against Malaria for Internally Displaced Persons. We have representatives from this team and a couple of other teams here as well. And I'm going to be calling them up on stage to give us a short brief about their change projects. So I'd like to start with Team Down. Hannah, please come up. All right, IT, please play the video while she comes up.
Hello everyone, my name is Undo Jacob Fati. I'm a member of Team Down for IDP. This is Defensive Action Against Malaria. Some weeks ago, we carried out a project on training 100 women in this IDP camp on how to make mosquito repellent using orange peas. And today we are here to do an evaluation of the impact of this project. Follow us as we go through this journey.
My name is Queen Achusa.
Okay. How you see the project?
Kai, we really thank God for that project. We love it. And the thing helped us a lot.
Wow.
It helped us a lot.
So you didn't work for the mosquitoes?
Seriously.
Wow.
Once they get the scent of that product, they don't even want to stand.
Wow.
They will start rushing, trying to escape by all means. So we really thank God for what you people did to us.
It's very, very good. Okay, so it works for you.
It worked very well.
I can get power well. The smell my good for me well.
Yeah.
Yes, if I do I'm inside Lumba. Anytime if I come back I dey hear that smell. Then as I do a mosquito man, if they talk small time, I never see them. And if I keep them, I keep my room. Like this, then if I keep on small time, I can't open them. Then small time they come out.
Okay.
They leave me in my room.
Okay.
Then the thing fine for me.
Yeah.
Like so as I call you, they work. I mean, they work. I check you. Simply because the thing is good for me.
Yeah. The organization will give us money. No, we do this project. What you want to tell them now?
I want to tell them that the thing where they do for me is good.
It was really helpful. We applied it just the same way we were taught to apply it in our rooms, and I can tell you we had a peaceful sleep. There was no mosquito cry or mosquito bites that day. We want to thank Leap Africa for taking our time to reach out to us.
We thank them for helping us because they try to know our challenges. You see how this place is. The way mosquito they disturb us here.
Yes,
you can't even stay outside. Even though as you see this place is covered like this. We don't even know where mosquitoes pass to go and meet us inside. So as they brought these things to us, it helped us a lot. So we say God should give them more power.
Yes, yes, yes.
More grace to do more than this. And the Almighty God will continue to bring them higher and higher.
Amen.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
They carried out a training and taught 100 women how to make mosquito repellents from orange peels. So I'll let Hannah tell us all about it. Tell us your name, your institution, and
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tiowa Hannah. I am from the Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi. Project Team Dam for IDP was a malaria intervention project. On one of our visits to the IDP camp, we interacted with the camp chairman, and we got to understand that one of the major health challenges they were facing there was the constant outbreak of malaria infection. And he further told us that over 200 people come down with malaria within three months. So we put our heads together in the course of the Youth Leadership Development Program, and we decided to bring solution to the problem. And we came up with a solution to use orange peels to make organic mosquito repellent that is effective and will help curtail the constant outbreak of malaria infection. And we're able to do this in 2 ways. We carried out a sensitization on malaria in the camp, and we further trained 100 women in the IDP camp on how to make and use organic mosquito repellent from orange peels. As you watch from the video, we recorded great impact for they attested to the effectiveness of the organic mosquito repellent spray. And they also attested to the fact that there has been reduced outbreak of malaria amongst them. With all this that we have achieved, we wouldn't have been able to achieve all this without the knowledge we gained from the Youth Leadership Development Program, the funding we got from LEAP Africa, the mentorship that we got from Mrs. Mayowa Adegbile, the founder, the CEO of Ashake Foundation, and the collective efforts of all our team members. We thank you.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow. Before you leave here today, I would like you to think about projects like this and think about the amazing things that young people like Hannah are doing. The goal of the program of the YLDP is so that young people can see themselves as agents of change. You know, you don't have to wait for the government. You don't have to wait to become the president or a governor. Look around you. What is that social challenge in your community, and what can you do about it? Okay, so we have another chain project team here, Team AID, Advocacy for the Inclusion of the Disabled, led by Caleb Okon. I'll let him come up and talk to us about it. Just so that I can add, this year we also recorded representation in the persons with disability community. So yes, we did have persons with disability on the program from different clusters. And so for us, that's a big win. Hi, Caleb. IT, please play.
Martin Luther Jr. posed and said, I have a dream. When we close our eyes, all we see is our dream. Together to change the narrative of the disabled in Africa, starting with our society. And from Benin City, those states, we are taking it to the ends of Africa. The disabled are humans too. Even in every disability, there is still an ability. It is high time we stopped this discrimination, and this was why we took to the streets of Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria, to advocate, to enlighten, to demand the inclusion of these people in the society. Be the one who make others feel included. Be the one who rise and make the community thrive. Together, let's raise our voice. Together, let's speak the right thing. Together.
Changing the narrative of the disabled in our society. In Africa!
Let's change the narrative together. At Aid Africa, this is who we are. we advocate for the inclusion of the disabled in our society. It starts with me, it starts with you and everyone.
I know we go there on my own. You dey waka with me, make you hold me well. Don't let me use my life for stone. Be my eyes, I beg, make you be my friend.
This almost brought tears to my eyes.
Thank you very much. I'm standing on the existing protocol. My name is Caleb Okon, and I am the team lead for Team Aid Africa. And Aid Africa simply means the advocacy for the inclusion of the disabled in our society. And in my team, I would want to mention them. They are not here. Blessing Borokini, the secretary, and Ngozi Odega, my assistant team lead, and a whole host of volunteers who made this possible. And also, I want to give a big shout out to, first of all, Leap Africa for the opportunity, for the privilege of making this whole dream possible. Briefly, the advocacy of the disabled for the inclusion of the disabled in Africa is a project aimed at maximizing the potential, full potentials and productivity of our society. And I tell you, this can only be possible when every one of us are included in this. You see, most times, the vulnerable amongst us are those that are actually being neglected. They are the ones that are being left behind and discriminated against. And this is something that is very crucial. In Benin, or even here in Lagos, you see some of them scattered all over, probably begging or doing one thing or the other. And the least we can do is just to maybe remove 120 naira or 15 naira just to satisfy our conscience, or just to feel a little bit better with ourselves, and we give it to them. And that is what we want to change. Our solution was hinged upon what we call Operation ACT, ACT. A simply means awareness work. We undergo something that was very crucial, especially to the disabled community, because we know that the mindset is very crucial in what we are doing. And so we reach out to them, the young ones on the streets, and then we tell them that there is more to life than begging. We told them that there was more to life than just swallowing in self-pity and feeling so bad about themselves. And not just them, we also talked to the parent of the disabled, that some of you would take these children and use them as beggars. That is not good enough. We need to change this. And then we spoke to them that this child can go to school. We brought vivid example like barrister Kindness from our campus. She just graduated, a law student. And we showed she went with us, and we were able to see that these children, if they are well taken care of, they can achieve more. And we used what we call, I'll summarize it to be what we call the E-Cube. When we went out there, we empowered, we educated, and we enlightened these same people. And then the C of our Agenda Act simply means community enlightenment. Now, community enlightenment for the non-disabled community, not just the disabled this time around. Now, we did what we call the A-Cube, which is advocate, appeal, and admonish. Advocate, we advocate their case to add their voice to all concerned citizens. We told citizens, we went to different classes, we went to different communities and tell them that you can add your voice to these people. Don't just leave them marginalized and leave them that way. We could do something about it. Then we appeal to key stakeholders and policymakers to create favorable policy for the community. If you can recall, in January 2019, President Mohamed Buhari signed into law a legislation that criminalized common discrimination against persons with disability. It provides for a 5-year transition period in which public building structures or automobiles to be modified to be accessible and usable by persons with disabilities, including those on wheelchairs. January 2024 would make it 5 years. And beloved friends, looking at this all, thank God for this all, you notice that, yes, something like that has been implemented here. But when I went around, I took a tour, I noticed that just 40% compliances, and the same thing has been even there in my university. And that is why we need to add our voice to this. And then we appeal to the key stakeholders to make them see the need for this. And finally, we admonish the preacher. We admonish, that is the third A. Preach to the preachers. The religious leaders, they are the aims of affair too. We told them the need and the importance of not discriminating against the disabled and just viewing them as tools of miracles. And we told them that these same people, if God can use Fanny Cosby to produce the songs that she does, Likewise also, God can use anybody. So it is not just by putting them and say, oh, the only thing that they need is miracle. It is far beyond that. And finally, we the T in our Operation Act stands for Town Hall Meeting. This is where we bring the non-disabled and the disabled together in a hall to actually do what we actually summarize to be L-cube: learn, lift, love. Now, learn from each other the uniqueness of the community and how to help the Keynote and how to help and be of help. Some of us would want to help. That 20 naira, it is from a very good heart. So instead of giving them 20 naira, you can do more for them than that. And that was what we did in that town hall meeting, to learn and to have a reorientation of what we used to know. And then we lift each other. We told them there can be harmony between each and every one of us. In this community hall, we have the national president, the executive director of NABVID, that is Barrister Melody, and also the president of the University of Benin Special Students Union, Barrister Kindness Idaosa, and also from the non-disabled part, we have Mr. Samson Okufuleze, the co-author of Sense for Adolescents and co-founder of Awesome Leadership Academy. Finally, we preach love, empathy, and the need to be a source of beaming light and hope to one another. We believe that hands join in hands, we can change the narrative of the disabled in our society. And now join me when I say Aid Africa. You kindly shout to me, changing the narrative of the disabled. Are you ready? I said Aid Africa. Thank you very much. Thank you, Leap Africa.
Please put your hands together for Caleb. Thank you so much. I feel so proud. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Now I have to put a hard stop to this. We have many more interesting projects here, but I'd like to call our host, Joy, to lead us more into today's session. Thank you very much.
All right. Can we please give our change makers another round of applause? Fantastic work that they have done. Well done. And I'd like to ask us one more time, what are you advocating for? What are you advocating for? These are young people like you all over Nigeria advocating for change. And for them, talk is not cheap. Talk is expensive. They say it and they do it. And guess what? You can do it also. All right? And you know, so in Nigeria and Africa at large, we say that one of our major challenges is bad leadership. But one thing that I'd like us to think about, even as we progress in this youth conference, youth leadership conference, is that as citizens of Nigeria, what are we doing in our own little communities and little pockets to effect the change that we want to see? We can't wait for the government. We cannot wait for the government. We have to come together and make that change that we want to see in our nation. And at this point, I would also like to acknowledge the support of some of the bodies right here in the Lagos State University. So I'd like to acknowledge the Lagos State University Student Union and the Lagos State Sustainable Development Goals Club. Please let's put our hands together for them. They have been very, very, very supportive in the work that we have done here in LASU. They have given us their time, their resources, human resources. They're here today in the hall, you know, helping us out, volunteering, doing the little that they can do or the much that they can do to ensure that we move our nation forward. Thank you very much, guys. Please let's give them another round of applause. All right, to take us further into today's event, I'd like to call on one of us at Leap Africa. He's the NYFF project lead. And when we started, I had mentioned to us that the Nigeria Youth Futures Fund, which is NYFF, is one of the initiatives of Leap Africa. And so I'd like to call on the project lead of NYFF, Ikena Okbudingpa, to please take us in a quick speed talk session that is titled Building Resilience in Youth Activism. Please let's put our hands together for him as he comes forward. Let's keep the applause going. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please let's put our hands together once again for Ikenna Obudimkpa as he comes forward for his speed talk titled Building Resilience in Youth Activism. Please let's keep the applause going until he comes. And I must say that we have very brilliant minds in Leap Africa. Trust me, we're doing amazing work if we do say so ourselves. Please let's keep the applause going, guys. Let's keep it going. We're young people, oh. I'm not getting the vibe yet. Our youth is not youthing. I don't understand. Thank you very much. Let's keep it going. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'd say me being here is actually being very resilient right now. All right, I want to say a special thank you to everyone who made out this time to be here this afternoon. My name is Ikenna Obudimkpa, and I'll talk to you in a few minutes about resilience in youth activism. I'd like to say thank you to my ED, Kenny. Thank you to the team. Thank you, Joy, and everyone who has put this together. All right, so I was running to be here. I just need some few seconds to actually have a breather and breathe in. And so building resilience is actually about taking a step back and breathing in when you need to. Did that line work? I have to align it with my breathing right now. So clap for me, please. Okay, can we do something? Just turn to your neighbor, right or left, and say thank you for being here. All right. One thing I've realized in the 10 years of me being active, being an active youth, being active in youth participation, being a youth activist is that the first and first is that you need to take care of yourself. And this is supposed to be my last point, but I'm taking it front to be the first point. Self-care is paramount. Self-care is important. Your mental health amidst the troubles and the passion you have to solve, to bring lasting change to Nigeria is important to think about change, but it's more important to think about yourself. And like I said, this is supposed to be the last point, but I want you to think about how to become better in building social change. One of the challenges that we have in this space is that when we walk towards this social change and we make progress, right? We can go 10 steps forward. And sometimes if we think about it critically, we see that in your mind, because I'm not sure it's real, we go 20 steps backward. So most times you get tired, you get weak, you lose your passion, you lose your drive, you lose your sensibilities are questioned, right? And sometimes, just yesterday, I was having a conversation with a young person, and he said, all these rallies that we hold, all these campaigns that we hold, what is the essence of it? Because we have not seen critical change. And the truth is that we have seen change. We have sustained change. We might not have moved it from point A to point Z, but you have kept it at point A. And it's progress, true of us. Because without that, maybe we would have had 1,000 steps backward. But what you're doing right now, being here in this room right now, is sustaining change. So I'd like you to put your hands together for yourselves one more time. So please do take care of yourself. Your mental health is important. Prioritize your well-being because we need you alive. We need you well. We need you healthy to be able to drive the change that we want to drive, to be able to build and create the Nigeria that we want. My second point will be on building consensus. A lot of times, young people do a lot of activism. We work so hard. We want the Nigeria that we want to come to pass. But the question I will always ask you is, who are you working with? If you're working for the people, are the people working with you? Because they are two different things. One thing we have seen in Nigeria over the years, and actually across Africa, is that we think we know the best for people as leaders, as activists, as young people. We create campaigns, we create hashtags, we produce ideas, and we go to the street straight to make these ideas come to pass. But the question is, have you interacted with the normal, average Nigerian and asked him or her, what do you want? What is the Nigeria that you want to see? If you're asked to create change, what is the change that you want to create? Sometime 3 years ago, I was in a seminar like this, and an organization was sharing about their story intervening in a community that had pipe-borne water issues. And they built a borehole for the community. And after 6 months, they came back to the community to monitor the impact of the borehole that they built. And they realized that nobody was using the borehole. and they were angry. But we've invested so much money in building this borehole. We've done so much to ensure that this community has water. So when they went to the streets to interact with the average person in the community, do you know what they found out? They were told that the walk to the stream is the time that they bond as a people. It's the time that they interact. They look forward to going to the stream to fetch water. The stream becomes a hub for them, right? That's where they meet their friends. That's where they meet their pals. And that culture was not transferred to the borehole system that this NGO built. Do you understand the point right now? So before you think about interventions, think about asking the people you are intervening for, what do you want? What is it that you want? How can we, even though they want a phone or a borehole, how can we bring in your desires into this borehole? So do you think we should build this borehole around the market area, or do you think we should build this borehole around the village square? These things are important. You know why? So that you don't run for people, and the people you are working for are working against you. It can drain your energy. It can kill your drive. So building resilience in activism ensures that you're able to build consensus. And now I can share a lot of stories around it because it's really important. You see leaders who come and say, you know what, from today we have free education, from today we have zero subsidy, you know, and all that. But how can people become part of the process? I listened to a quote some time ago that says, when I actually started my youth activism journey newly, and the quote says, if it is for us, then without us, it is against us. Have you ever heard that quote before? Okay. So I ran with that. If it is for us, without us, it is against us. So if you're doing something for me, I should be involved. True of us. I should be involved. So if you're saying, oh, you want your school fees to reduce from 100,000 to 20,000, have you actually spoken to the students? Have you actually got their consensus to become part of your campaign? So building consensus is quite pivotal and necessary in building resilience for youth activism. Why? You get the buy-in of the people. And when you get the buy-in of the people, it's easy to run any campaign successfully. It's easy to enact change. The next point would be that we need to set very realistic expectations, right? Sometimes as young people, we are overly ambitious. We want Nigeria to change like today. In the activism space, we say it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It means that the change you want to see now will take time. Most times, a very, very long time. So you need to set realistic goals and expectations of the change that you want to see. And I'll go to the next point of mine, which is when you set these realistic goals, right, and you look for low-hanging fruits, those low-hanging fruits become the energy and the passion you need to drive further. For example, have you ever tried to save ₦1 million before? And you probably, okay, she's smiling, you probably not thought about that before. Okay, so let me step in a bit. Have you ever planned to save 10,000 naira before? And, you know, you worked so hard and you hit 10,000 naira. How did you feel? How? You felt amazing. You felt you're a champion. In fact, if Usain Bolt will stand beside you, you feel Usain Bolt is a very young learner, that you are the champion. You felt like a king. You walked with all your shoulders high, right? Because we were able to save 10,000. It means that you set realistic goals and you met them. What happens to you next? You start thinking about, oh, more, if I do 10K, I do 50K. True of us. Exactly. But do you know that this is real? That if you set a 50K goal and hit 35K, there's a possibility that you will feel bad. Yes. Even when you hit 350 times, 350% more than what you were supposed to hit at 10K, but because you do not meet your target, you feel bad. So in youth activism, I always tell people, even though we want Nigeria to be changed now, can you change your departments? Can you change your local governments? Can you change your community? Can you change your family? Can you introduce policies and laws or values that you've seen that people's lives have been transformed? Those are the low-hanging fruits that will give you the joy and results to propel for the greater ones. I call them proof of concepts. So if we're able to change your streets, for example, I think some years ago, I was driving, you know, in my street and I saw that the road was getting very bad. And I said to myself, this is not nice, right? So I will go to the junction where the keke drivers park, and I spoke to them and said, can we map out a day where we'll all come and fill these potholes with stones? We can mobilize resources from amongst ourselves and let's fill this pothole. And guess what? They agreed. And that day, early in the morning, all of them gathered, packed their kekes, stopped their businesses, and we all gathered stones. In fact, there was a contractor that stays on the street. So we reached out to him and said, can you supply stones to us? We'll do the filling ourselves. He said, yes. So we mobilized resources, and ourselves, we filled those holes. Guess what? When people were passing, some of them stopped, went to buy bottled water, went to buy refreshment for us, even dropped money, and they passed. At the end of the day, we mobilized a lot of people who dropped financial support, their manpower. Some even parked their cars and supported in the filling of the pothole. At the end of the day, what did we realize? The road became better, and we were excited and happy that we could bring that change on that road. Afterwards, I started thinking, man, I can't do this in the whole local government. Nobody told me. I now thought, I can do this in the whole local government. That's what certain reality goals will bring to you, and that's what amplifying your small victories can also bring to you as well. My next point will be to build a support network. Like I said earlier, it can be very draining, challenging. Sometimes you are in quote depressed, you're tired, you've given up. Sometimes you think in fact, the best thing is to jabba and just leave these people alone to do what they want to do, right? So if you've ever thought of jabba, can I see your hand up? Wow. Please put your hands up if you've ever thought of jabba. Okay. So I almost said this is the wrong room, but this is the right room. So today we're going to change your mind from jabba to build the Nigeria that we want. Is that okay? Is that okay? Okay, all right. So build a support network. You need to have mentors, partners, friends, associates, colleagues, people who align with your vision, people who align with the purpose or with the passion that you have. This is very critical and important because at the end of the day, there are days when you feel completely burnt out. There are days when you feel completely tired. There are days when you've given up. Sometimes as a leader, you're walking past, and even your people who you are leading are looking at you, not knowing that day, if it was only for you, you would have given up a long time ago. Those days, what do? You need to have a support network. It can be your mother, it can be your father, it can be your friends, it can be your colleagues, it can be anybody. But have people that you pour your heart out to, have people that you talk to, have people that you share your challenges with, have people that can guide and counsel you, and also do same for others. So I advise you that it can even be a cluster in your school, 10, 20 people in the SDG club or in any way who can come together, form a WhatsApp group and become friends. What that will do for you is that the days that you're burnt out, you have people who can fire you up. The days that you initiate a project that you want to do, you have people who can even support you fiscally, who can support you financially, who can support you morally. It's always very important to build a strong support network around activism. Next one will be strategic, flexible, and adaptive. Social change is hard. It's really tough to cause change. And it's really easy at the same time. Like I said, you need to know what the people want. You need to be consensus. You need to have a support network. You need to have self-care. But more than ever, you need to be very strategic, flexible, and adaptive because things will change. You can have a plan now, right? And when you get to your VC, probably you are going there to campaign for free internet or free Wi-Fi. When you get to your VC's office to talk to him about it, and you realize that there has been free Wi-Fi all the while, but it's not functional. It means right there, even though you have a script that you've prepared, your script has to change. True or false? True. The question becomes, how do we drive this to become effective? Right? You can go on your visit and say, you know what, we're going to put a budget or we're going to increase your school fees for this internet that you're asking for. What will you say? No, this is bad. We don't want you to increase your school fees. The country's hard. No. You have to be always flexible with change. I see change and social change. I see social change as a business deal. I see social change as bargain. Right? Because everybody has interest, true or false. So even for the people you want to drive change to, what are you bringing to the table? And that's what us as young people really do not realize. Even the government, we're advocating for them to do this and do this. What value can we bring to the table that can make them buy into what we want? Right? So think about flexibility, think about adaptability, and think about strategy. Strategy cannot be overemphasized. Strategy is very vital. And I'll just share the last two points. Because I'm really prepared for this. I hope so. One strategy that people use to counter social change is a system, it's a political system, but it's called divide and rule. And that's why I talked to you about support network. If you've ever had divide and rule, it's a system where, okay, I'll give you a scenario. Of course, I know we all watch this Nat Geo Wild. If a lion is pursuing a prey, and the prey, they're in a pack, probably there are 20 goats or 20 dogs doing stuff, what would they do? They'll pursue the prey until 2 or 3 veer of the pack, true or false? And what do they do next? Sorry? Exactly. So they go to those people who have left the pack. It's always important as young people driving change to remain together. If you are in a group of 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 or 1,000, no matter the quantity, driving change, it's always good that you reinforce the importance of being together in your advocacy or in your drive for social change. Because what the people who do not want social change to happen would do is to find ways to separate you. To bring out 2, 3, my ED talked about fraud. To bring out 2, 3 people who like a lot of money and give them money and tell them, please go inside this your crowd and divide them. True or false? Have you ever seen that happen before? Yes. So it means that you need to bring the right people in your room, and you need to ensure that there's cohesion and unity for you to drive the change you want to see. Once one person veers off the track, it can destroy the entire process. So please factor that in as well. And I also like to talk about, okay, I've already mentioned that point, that it's not good to work in silos. You always need to have people work with you on anything at all. It can even be your personal project. So like some of you did your social change projects and all that. You can have people who are mentors, who you run these things through, who you ask for guidance or support. It's always important to do these things together with people. So, and I'll end with this. I'll try to wrap up my points because I know I just have 15 minutes to do this. Social change is really, really, really possible. True or false? Very, very possible. Sometimes as young people, we idolize governments. We idolize systems. We see these people, we see our leaders as superhuman, as people who are not approachable, people who will automatically say no when we get to them, people who will actually rebut. No, these are human beings just like you and I. One thing I do, I don't know if this is a secret or a hack, one thing I do is that before I move to cause social change, I talk to myself, right? I see myself as very, very relevant in this society. I see myself as important to have this conversation. Because as young people, guess what? I'll tell you one funny story, and I'll end this. Very funny story, and I'll end it with this. One day, I went to meet the Speaker of the House of Assembly. I won't call the state, so you don't go and find him. And, as I got into his office, the Chief Protocol Officer, I just spoke all the English. So, blah, 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 blah. I'm here to do this, I'm here to do that. And he said, all the things you said, like this. And I said, how? He said, there's no how. Like, all these things you said, you want to do this thing. You. Like, they didn't find any other person to send. It's you that they sent. So at the point, I was like, wow. So that's why I talked to you about adaptability and flexibility. At the point, I asked myself, can I get a sample? If you were the one, what would you have done? What would you have said? Anybody wants to try? You probably get angry, right? And say, see, insults. So at the point, I looked at him and said, I tried to reinforce why I was there, trying to reinforce the reason why I needed to meet with the Speaker. This is the Speaker of the House of Assembly, big guy with a lot of DSS and all that, security around him. And so after talking to him again, he said, I don't understand. I'm saying, is it you that wants to see the Speaker or someone else? Did they send you or you? I said, it's me. And he started laughing at me. So when you go to drive social change as young people, you might see these things, right? Have you ever encountered anything like that? When people look down on you, or when people feel you are not worthy, you are not worth it, they probably know your past. They'll say, he's not this small boy, and all that, of yesterday. Those things will come to you. But the best thing you need to do is that before you move to do these things is to talk to yourself first. To think yourself as someone who can bring this change, right? And most times I read about, the past, the history. I read about Martin Luther King, I read about these great young people around the world who have brought up social change, who have done something amazing, and I see myself in them, and I see them in me. And I talk to myself that if these are leaders would have become presidents at 35, or 28, or 23, then I'm an old man, right? Do you feel so sometimes? Yes, if these young people would have brought the change that the world celebrates them for, it means that I'm really old. So it makes me see myself not as young anymore, I was part of people who drove the Not Too Young to Run campaign, So beyond the campaign for youth inclusion, it's a campaign for youth dignity, for you to start seeing yourself as you're not too young. You're not too young to own a house. You're not too young to buy a car. You're not too young to cause LASU to become the best university in Africa. You're not too young, right? You need to start thinking yourself as able and capable to bring to pass any social change you want to bring. I know you are looking for the end of that story. So when after he said to me what he said to me, I smiled and I looked at my phone. Coincidentally, I had a contact that I met years ago who worked with the Speaker, and I didn't remember what to call him before I got there. So I called him and I said to him, "Okay, I'm in your office and this is what's happening." So he came down and he started scolding, the security official. At the point, I felt, you don't know who I am. Right? It felt so good. I felt in my heart, I didn't say it. I said, talk to him. He doesn't have respect, So when that happened, this guy held me by his hands and took me to the speaker's office, and the rest is history. But what did that cost? Whenever I went to that office, I had accelerated access to where I wanted to go to, right? So sometimes you need to prove a point. Sometimes you need to let people know your worth, right? It's important that you do it in a very subtle manner, but driving your point is very, very, very effective. So I can tell you stories about, how you can cause change in your local community, in your family, in school here, wherever it is, but understand that you are the dream that Nigeria has, that the possibility for Nigeria to grow, to excel, to succeed is in your hands, actually. My DOP said something to me, my DOP said something to me sometime when we went for an event like this. Even though I know this fact, but she said to me that young people in Africa are the biggest resource Africa has. And when she said that, that stuck to my mind, and I had to think about it. I had to study that clause. I had to study that clause. And I realized, and I saw a lot of speeches from World Bank, WHO, UN, saying the same thing, that young people are the resource Africa has. That the biggest resource Africa has is not oil, it's not crude, it's not gold, it's not lithium. The quality of young people Africa has. And that is already playing out in the technology space. That's already playing out in fintech. That's really playing out in youth advocacy. That's really playing out because we are here. So I'm saying this to say that believe that we are the biggest resource Africa has. And for Africa to be better, for Nigeria to be better, we need you on board. We need you to become active. And not just active, we need you to cause others to become active. We need your activism to come to a point where we can see pockets of social change here and there until we create the Nigeria that we want. So I'm saying this to say to you right now, do not give up, do not relent. We need you on board, and I know that in the next few months or years, we'll share your success story with us. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day. Thank you, Joy.
Thank you. Amazing stuff. Wow, okay. Young people are the biggest resource that Africa has. And interestingly, I was just thinking as Ikena was speaking, that it would have been impossible for us to have this event here today without the young people in LASU. So please put your hands together for yourselves. We absolutely appreciate you for your support. All right, that was a lot. Please, let's put our hands together for Ikena again. That was a lot. Whatever you do for me, but without me, you do against me. Change makers, that is something you always have to have at the back of your mind. When you go to communities, when you see people that you want to help, don't assume, these people, what they need is borehole. These people, it's like they need malaria drugs. These other people, perhaps this thing is what they need. Don't assume, they need telephones in this place. Let's get data for them. You need to ask them. So there's something we call needs analysis. You need to do an analysis of the needs that those people have in that community. That is the only way you can provide effective change. That is the only way you can efficiently solve their problems. All right, let's move forward into this program. Debaters, are we ready? Debaters are not in this room. Debaters, are we ready? Maybe we should be going home. The other people would like to debate. Debaters, are we ready? All right, okay. I hope we are ready because right now we're going straight into the first round of our debates for the semi-finals. And very quickly, I'd like to introduce to us our judges for this round and also for the second round. But our judges for the semi-finals, we have the honor of having these people with us in the house. They are seasoned professionals, so trust me, you're in good hands. So we'd like to recognize the presence of Mr. Joseph Amanawo. I hope that I did not murder your name. The moment it came out of my mouth, I'm like, It's like, perhaps I have murdered it. All right, pardon me, sir. He's the project lead for Civic Hive. I'll try better. Please, let's put our hands together for him. All right. We also have with us Mr. Mayowa Tijani. He's the co-lead Future Work Africa. And our third judge for today is Ellen Ukpi, who is the communications manager at Leap Africa. Thank you. So for the first round of the debates today, we'll have competitors from University of Ibadan and University of Lagos. And they will be debating the topic, skill acquisition and vocational training can tackle unemployment and shape the future of youth development in Nigeria. Debating for the University of Lagos, who is the proposition team, we have Ms. Yusuf Aisha and Mr. Abdulhabib Akorede. And debating for the University of Lagos, we have the opposition team. We have Ms. Obong Ikpe and Ms. Enioluwa Oni. Yes, please put your hands together for our debaters. All right. So before we go right into it, I'd like to just read to us the rules of engagement once more. Our debaters, I know that by now you're very familiar with these rules, but for the benefit of our judges and also for our audience, both online and in the room with us right here at Lagos State University, I'd just like to go through the rules of engagement again. So the first speakers from both the proposition and the opposition team have 5 minutes each to introduce their motion, to define key terms, to set burdens, to establish mechanisms or models if needed, to offer substantive arguments. And the second speakers who also have, the first speakers, pardon me, from the opposition team would also have 5 minutes to deal with proposed framework by opposition, to clash with the opposition arguments, to offer their own substantive arguments. And then would have 3 minutes for both teams from the proposition opposition team to clash, to offer substantive new arguments, to defend the first speaker's point, after which our debaters will get 30 seconds for the cross-examination. And finally, they would have the closing statement for just 1 minute to crystallize the round and convince us that they are the winners of that particular round. So without wasting much more of our time, I'd like to call on the first speaker of the proposition team, the University of Ibadan, Ms. Yusuf Aisha, to give us the opening statement, the opening argument for University of Ibadan. All right, so all debaters, there's a screen right in front of you that's facing the stage, and it has the timer on it. So keep an eye out for your time so that you do not exceed your time. Thank you very much.
Okay. Judges, ladies and gentlemen, today we discuss whether skill acquisition and vocational training can, let me start over. Judges, ladies and gentlemen, today we discuss whether skill acquisition and vocational training can tackle unemployment in Nigeria and shape the future of youth development in this country. But before we get too technical, let me paint you a picture of the status quo. What we have as the status quo was stated by a tax and audit global firm, KPMG, to state that that the unemployment rate in Nigeria is going to hit 40.6% soon, compared to the 37.7% we had in 2022. What this means is that my opponents, or even myself, despite our love for formal education, can end our studies and find ourselves joining the millions of Nigerian youths out there who are either unemployed or underemployed. So what we're trying to say here is not to jinx anybody, but to make you realize the reality of the world that the opposition is campaigning for in today's debate. Now, judges, the crisis of unemployment in Nigeria is serious, but most people do not understand how serious it is. What makes it worse is the reality of our job economy. 80.4% of the Nigerian employment economy is in the informal sector, as reported by the World Bank. Now, a large majority of Nigerian youth are out there waiting for nothing but formal jobs. We need to make these people realize that we must shift attention from formal jobs that cannot cater for our population and the needs of these youths. Judges, Why do we believe that skill acquisition and vocational training can tackle unemployment in Nigeria and shape the future of youth development in this country? It's because in this status quo, we have seen the best of formal education with 264 universities in this country, according to the National Universities Commission, producing about 600,000 graduates every year, according to the World University News. We must make these people take their attention away from the formal sector to opportunities in the informal sector. Why? Because UNESCO, and why can we do this? Because vocational training and skills can actually cater for these people and provide them with sufficient employment that can create a future that they want. UNESCO defines vocational education and training as learning aimed to acquire the knowledge, know-how, information, value, skills, and competencies that is required to secure specific jobs or broadly compete in the labor market. And now, why do we from the proposition believe that skill acquisition and vocational training can tackle unemployment in Nigeria and shape the future of youth development in Africa? Firstly, because skill acquisition and vocational training is what best prepare our youth to work in the informal sector. And we have shown you that the informal sector is way larger than the formal sector, more robust, and rife with opportunities for these youths to achieve their potentials. Judges, according to that World Bank data that I cited earlier, 80.4% of our employments are in the informal sector, with only 10% in the formal sector. The remaining 9% is in the household. What this means, ladies and gentlemen, is that only 1 in every 10 jobs is in the formal sector. So now, audience, I would like to ask you, between these two options, which one do you believe that our youth should lean into? I believe the answer is very clear. Our second argument is that skill acquisition and vocational training can tackle unemployment in Nigeria and shape the future of youth development in Nigeria because it equips our youth with the knowledge, know-how, and skills needed to provide solutions to real-world problems. For instance, one of the major problems that Nigeria and most of the world is facing now is food insecurity. So, farming skills can equip Akorede with the knowledge and skills and capacity to solve this problem, positioning him to enjoy the dividends of being a creator in a world dependent on consuming. And since he cannot do this thing alone, we have to employ other people with him. With youth like Akorede creating employment for themselves and other people, we can have less dependence on formal sector that we have seen that does not have the capacity to cater and accommodate to all of our job seekers. And what is our last argument from the opening speech? Ladies and gentlemen, it is that skill acquisition and vocational training can tackle unemployment in Nigeria and shape the future of youth development in this country because it can improve the formal education system to better equip these youths to take the opportunities that even exist in the formal sectors. How? Judges, many of us complain about the narrative of our higher education curriculum being largely theoretical. What we can do is to use some elements from vocational training like practicality and experience-based learning to improve the formal education system where students can now utilize the knowledge from their courses in real-life situations to solve problems. So if the solution that the opposition are going to present in today's debate to offset their burden, to create an alternative, is formal education, then they will be agreeing with us that skill acquisition and vocational can actually tackle the problem of unemployment in this country, and we believe that we've made a case. Thank you.
Thank you. Well done. That was the opening argument from the University of Ibadan. Debaters, please remember to keep track of your time. You have 5 to 10 seconds after your time has elapsed to complete whatever statements that you're making. Now I would call on the first speaker from the University of Lagos to give us their opening argument. Please let's make welcome Eniola Oni.
Yes, a striker is a part of a football team. But if you say that the striker should go face the opponent without the defender, without the midfielder, without the goalkeeper, you have set up that team for failure. Yes, I agree that vocational training and skill acquisition, they have a place in unemployment and youth development. But where I draw the line is insisting or claiming that they can actually tackle unemployment or shaping the future of youth in Nigeria. The truth is that if we are going through that path, we are only being narrow-minded in our thinking. And if we are really going to address the situation on ground today, judges, we need to apply our system thinking approach. Because that is only when we can solve the issue of unemployment and shape the future of unemployment in Nigeria. The judges, co-debaters, and my audience, a beautiful afternoon to us all. My name is Eniola Oni from the University of Lagos, and I am here to oppose the motion that states that skill acquisition and vocational training can tackle unemployment and shape the future of youth development in Nigeria. In this debate, I am going to be establishing two things. Number one, the reasons why just skill acquisition and vocational training cannot tackle unemployment and shaping the future of youth development in Nigeria. And I will also be establishing solutions and other things that can be done in addition to or apart from skill acquisition and vocational training. According to UNESCO Institute of Statistics, they define vocational training as the education that you give to learners to equip them with the skills, the competencies, and the knowledge that they need in a particular occupation or trade. Also, while defining youth development, the United Nations mentioned that it encompasses physical, psychological, cognitive, social development, as well as arming them with the tools, the skills, and the knowledge that they require in order to be better citizens of the country and also globally. I oppose this motion with the following premises. Number one, wrong mentality and poor acceptance of locally made goods. And number two, prioritizing high-level education. Now, in Nigeria that we are right now, yes, we have skilled people that are skilled in vocations and all of that. But when you bring an imported good and a locally made good, yeah, we see that Nigerians prioritize the imported ones over the locally made ones. Just this week, Punch newspaper recorded that over $6.7 billion has been spent in just the first half of this year on importation of manufactured goods in Nigeria. How many of us, when we have a situation where we can choose imported goods or locally made goods, even if they are the same price, how many of us will, without thinking twice or subconsciously, pick the locally made goods? Very few. And that is because we prioritize, the imported ones over this one. So what is the solution to this? I'm going to say that in addition to skill acquisition and vocational training, we have to develop policies and programs that will help market Nigerians to Nigeria. All of us, and by all, I mean the government, the citizens, have a role to play. We should all undergo a paradigm shift in our mentality and behavior. The next time you have the opportunity to choose between a locally made product and an imported one, please choose the imported one. Choose the locally made one, rather. Now, my second point about high-level education. Let me explain something to us. All the top tiers, executives in high places, in global businesses, they did not get there by learning carpentry or baking. Nkoji Obiela did not become the Director General of the World Trade Organization by having catering skills. No, these people have high-level education. So if we are going to tackle the issue of unemployment, we need to focus on this. Now, my proposition team can say that, yes, how many people can high-level education employ? But the truth is that high-level education, if you want to create sustainable jobs in Nigeria, we need to create jobs at scale. If we want to create jobs at scale, we need people that can think on high level. If we want to get people that can think on high level, we need to invest in high-level education. At the end of the day, my dear audience, let us ensure that we all come together to ensure the Nigeria that we all want. Thank you very much.
Very interesting arguments from our first speakers. So now we'll go on to our second speakers, and I'll be calling on the second speaker from the University of Ibadan, Mr. Abdul Habib Akorede. You have 3 minutes for your supporting arguments. Just hold on, please. The timer is coming up shortly. All right. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay, your time starts now.
Panel. The first thing we must note in today's debate is that what the first speaker essentially did was try to derogate from the spirit of this topic. It states skill acquisition and vocational training can tackle unemployment and shape the future of youth development in Nigeria. It does not say just. It does not say in addition to. It does not say that you create, take that topic and then add it to something else. It basically asks you to create an opposite to the entire concept of vocational training and skill acquisition. So on that basis, they have entirely misinterpreted the topic that they were given today. Moving on, let us engage some of the arguments that you raised. First, they stated that poor acceptance of locally made goods. The problem that they fail to acknowledge here is that that is a problem of the quality of those goods in the first place, which is a result of the fact that these people do not have the necessary skills to create quality goods that will appeal to both Nigerians and even foreigners when they export it to them. Secondly, they also talked about we need people that can think on scale. We have not said that we do not need formal education. We have not said that these people, that we do not need to educate people, in a way that they can have sophisticated learning or anything like that. We are only saying essentially that even within our formal education sector, we need an improvement in terms of practical and experience-based learning, which is essentially what we advocate by presenting vocational training and skill acquisition to you. So formal education and our informal training can certainly work together within our education sector to achieve the quality that we need. Moving on. Why is shaping youth development even a crucial feature of today's debate in the first place? Because the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics tells us that Nigeria has a youth population of 70%, 41.7 of them being between the age of 0 to 14 years, and that 70% translates to 151 million people out of a grand total population of 270 million. Now, why is this clarification important? Because first, we understand that youths are key players in Nigeria's economic agenda for development, and second, in the distant future, because we have people aged between 0 to 14, they will still continue to be important stakeholders. So this debate is essentially about whether vocational training can actually facilitate sufficient employment such that the future of young people is guaranteed. Now, how does vocational training tackle unemployment and shape the future of youth development? So understand that if you are part of any youth development program, it must do three things. One, it will enhance your status as a young person. Two, empower you so that it can build your capabilities. And three, enable you to contribute to and benefit from the society in which you exist. So what that means is that we only have youth development when young people can realize their potentials and also when they can be productive and benefit the economy. So by learning a vocational skill, what essentially happens to you is that you do not have to wait until someone somewhere tells you that your application to join a firm is successful. Instead, you decide your own fate in this case. And what is the effect? I will tell you two things. One, an increase in the country's GDP. Because if every 1 year we're productive because we learned a vocational skill, then our GDP increases now because there's more economic activity. Two, it also transforms the country into an export-oriented economy, gradually in this case. Because now, if you decide to export the things that you produce, then you are more likely... Thank you. I've never been more proud to propose. Thank you.
Well done, second speaker from the University of Ibadan. We'll now listen to arguments, supporting arguments from the second speaker of the University of Lagos, Ms. M.M. Obong Ikpe. You have 3 minutes. Your time starts now.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. The only thing my opponent has succeeded in doing is to tell us the unemployment rate. What they failed to do is to show us the percentage improvements on that unemployment rate as regards to vocational training. We acknowledge the idea that vocational training can improve unemployment rate. But we must remember that it takes more than one tool, more than one toolbox to construct a capacity that can work very well in this country. The last speaker said that when you have vocational training, you can create businesses, talk about entrepreneurship. He failed to mention that according to article released by Business Day, Nigeria recorded 61% startup failure rate from 2011 to 2018. This analysis showed that this failure rate was a result of inconsistency of government policy, insufficient access to financial aid, and the high cost of registering business. What are we trying to say? Vocational skills, just skills alone, is not enough to solve the unemployment rates we have. You need policy and governance. You talked about economic growth. We do not deny the success stories you have given about economic growth. But what is economic growth if you cannot compete globally? Is this the future you want for Nigeria? That we should just be local champions and we cannot compete globally? Vocational training providing jobs for the now is not the issue. The question is, can it provide sustainable solution to the future we want for youth development in Nigeria? We must address the scale of problem. Nigeria, according to Vanguard News, has a youth population of 33.6 million as of 2022. So tell me, how far can this your vocational skill scale to that population? Vocational skills like hairdressing, like nail painting, really, nail painting. How sustainable is that? What is the scale for skills like that? Let me show you a perfect example of a country that has sustainably been better by doing something different than just vocational skills. According to World Bank, China was able to lift 800 million people out of poverty. It was not by going to learn hairdressing. It was by focusing on infrastructure, government policies. It showed the importance of focusing on education. They were able to open their minds. When you are educated, you can open your minds to create solutions to problems you see around you. They were able to focus on environmental climate change actions. That was what contributed to their economic growth, not hairdressing and nail painting. Thank you.
Well done, second speaker from the University of Lagos. We will now listen to cross-examinations from both the opposing and the proposing parties. So we'll have Mr. Abdulhabib Akorede for the University of Ibadan.
Two questions for you. The policies and governance that you talk about, will they still not relate to enhancing the quality of informal jobs, which, as my first speaker told you, is 80.4% of the Nigerian economy, further establishing a point for us in that case? This is what you basically say is that if there are many people in this sector, then the policy should focus on helping them out in whatever they are doing. So on that basis, please answer the question of whether your argument is not even for us in the first case. Secondly, the Chinese example that you mentioned, this is a population of over 1 billion people. Over 1 billion people cannot be in offices or chilling somewhere. They still have to work in the informal sector. For this reason, I'm proud to propose.
Well done. All right, Miss Ememobong Ikpe for the University of Lagos. Time starts now.
To my opposition, what do you have to say about the claim that the number of jobs created by people with high-level education is on a large scale as compared to vocational skills job? Let me give you, according to Statista, jobs created by people with high-level education, example, Elon Musk, Tesla. In 2022, he created 127,800 jobs. Dangote, our own very own, even with the economic crisis, was able to sustain 54,000 jobs. Answer me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are still listening to arguments from the University of Ibadan and the University of Lagos on the topic skill acquisition and vocational training can tackle unemployment and shape the future of youth development in Nigeria. We'll now listen to the closing argument from the University of Ibadan. Let's make welcome Mr. Abdulhabib Akorede.
So in response to what she said earlier, she said some Elon Musk guy has created high-level jobs. The most important question here is that argument itself, the data she stated, is a very general one. She does not specify the kind of jobs that have been created within that sector, meaning that even within it, Elon Musk's Tesla industry or auto vehicle industry still actually requires people within the informal sector to function optimally. Not every high-level management officer within that space would be someone who graduated from a university. There will be low-level engineers, there will be auto mechanics, there will be people. Moving on, the arguments we have essentially presented to you in today's debate, firstly, relates to the high level of the predominance of the informal sector, which is 80.4%, and we have stated that if it is more likely that only one out of every 10 jobs that you have in Nigeria is a formal one, they should obviously, pitch your tent with one that, has more coverage. So you have 9 jobs against 1 from the formal sector. And for these reasons, I've never been more proud to propose. Thank you.
Without a doubt, I know that we're enjoying the arguments that we're listening to this afternoon, and they're very stimulating. So I'd like to encourage the audience to please allow our debaters speak. I know that they're saying very important things that we need to hear. So when they have said something that resonates with you, please don't shout. You can simply do this. Exactly, so that we can hear their arguments. And then when they are done speaking, you can give them a resounding applause. Thank you very much. We'll now listen to closing arguments from the University of Lagos. Please make welcome Ms. Eniola Oni. The time starts now.
Okay, so my opponent was talking about policies. Very good. That means you recognize that vocational skills alone and skill acquisition cannot work, right? We need policies of the government. And that is the same thing that we are saying. Are you on our side? We are also saying that we cannot just utilize vocational skills alone and all these things, vocational skills alone and skill acquisition to achieve the goal that we want to achieve. Let me iterate that while skill acquisition and vocational training undoubtedly have a role to play in tackling unemployment and fostering youth development, they should be a part of a broader, more comprehensive strategy. Strategies that include investment in infrastructure, governmental policies, high-level education, and finally, the active involvement of you, me, all of us in tackling this issue. And this is to the Nigeria that we desire. Thank you very much.
Very brilliant arguments that we have heard from both sides, from the University of Ibadan and from the University of Lagos. We'll now listen to remarks from our judges as they share with us their thoughts about the debate and the arguments that they have just heard. I'd like to call first Mr. Mayowa Tijani to please share his remarks.
Okay. Well, Asu. I'd like to, let me just stand up actually. So I'd just like to point out a few things that some of the speakers said in the course of their speech. Starting with the first speaker from University of Ibadan. Please, I'd like us to give her a round of applause, please. You know, while at the university, I participated in debates like this, and I know there's what we call first speaker syndrome. Being the first person to come on stage, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of that. And of course, she forgot her lines, but she was able to come back from that. And I think that that aligns with the resilience we were speaking about earlier. So that's one thing that I like how she handled that. But of course, in commenting on that, I would also say that it's better not to cram your lines. It's better to know what you want to say and just come out and express that to the people. Secondly, and of course this is for the general first team, a lot of data that was quoted happened to be correct, but a little old, if you'd allow me to say that. So I know it was convenient to say that according to a report by KPMG, which was released last year, it is expected that unemployment will get to 40%. But of course, we understand that in the course of the year, there's been a change in the way unemployment is calculated in Nigeria, of course, which is an issue for another debate. But I see that you guys cherry-picked your data to suit your story, which is both good and bad, depending on what the judges think. For the Unilag speaker, I like the anecdotal start that you brought into the debate. I like some of the stats that you quoted. They were a lot more recent, even though our fact checkers will pick you up on some of them later on. For the University of Ibadan, this particular one I would have to speak to maybe the organizers later about if this speech was expected to be totally extempore or if there was the opportunity to be quoting from your devices or all of that. Then finally, one of the things that we are trying to push is the dignity of labor. And one of the things that dignity of labor teaches is that anything I find to do is just my duty to do it well. So basically, one of the speakers was job shaming. So nail painting, and I saw the reaction from the audience. As much as possible, let's try to avoid shaming gameful unemployment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayowa, for your feedback and remarks. We'll now listen to Ellen Ukpi for her feedback.
Okay, I'll start off by saying, please permit me to sit, but well done to all the debaters. Very strong arguments, well done. Really loved listening to you. So I'll try to summarize some of the feedback I have. For the first speaker from University of Ibadan, I would have loved to hear examples of where this has worked, right? So you have economies or places where vocational training has worked in building resilience towards what you're arguing for. So could you have pulled in examples to support your argument? So it would have been great to hear that from both sides, actually. The second speaker tried to do that using an example of China, but it would have been good to see how you're bringing in the scenario of China to play in what you're arguing for in Nigeria, not necessarily portraying it as, see, this happened in China, so how can that translate into what is happening here in Nigeria? I want to speak to some of the use of time. So some of the debaters made good use of their time. Some of them spent more time debasing the opponent's argument than making their own argument. So you have an opportunity to speak for yourself as well as respond to your opponent. But when you spend your entire time re-explaining your opponent's points, just to debase it, then you lose the opportunity to actually make your point. So it would have been good to hear some of you make good use of that time. Your rebuttal is strong, but how about we hear your own point? And then, lastly, like one of my co-judge said, Mayowa, some of your rebuttals did not hold weight, So throwing data around is not just there's a stronger argument when you bring in data to throw around. How does it pull into what you're making an argument about? So going forward, we look forward to seeing more enforced arguments from the other debaters. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ellen. So we'll listen to the final remarks from Mr. Joseph Emenawo. I will keep trying until I get it right. I will come back to you, sir, to learn the pronunciation. Thank you.
I think you're still struggling with it. The surname is Amenawo.
Amenawo.
Which simply means the water you drink will not flow past you. It's a Benin name. But that's the shortened version anyway. Amenawo Ele Somahai. That's the full name. But anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation, but it's important to point out a few important things. I think that the two teams appeared to have a broad understanding of the topic itself. And I think they didn't do enough to dig into the data to support their points. And I think they were very strong in pushing their arguments, but I think the question of using the data in a way that will enable them strengthen that argument was absent. Overall, I think that the two things did enough to get the audience excited, but the thing is that try to lessen that and push more of the facts and how that has played out. I would have loved to see, for instance, some real-life transition of how the blend of skill acquisition and vocational training has moved young people in a certain direction and has gradually become a basis for sustained income for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your feedback and remarks. Well taken. Once again, well done, debaters. Please let's give them a round of applause. All right, to take us further in today's event, I'd like to call on one of our partners for this Youth Leadership Conference, Mr. Mayowa Tijani, who is also one of our judges from Future Work Africa, to speak to us about skills for the future and emerging careers. Please put your hands together as he comes forward. Let's keep the applause going. We can make it louder. Thank you.
Thank you. We're LASU. We are LASU. We are great. Thank you very much for making our time to join us here today. As said earlier, my name is Mayowa Tijani. Sometimes I'm a journalist. Sometimes in positions like this, speaking to events and issues like this. I'm here basically on behalf of Future Work Africa, which is an initiative of the Goalkeepers Accelerator Program of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. What we are actually out to do is to define, and this is something we've been working on for about a year now, to define the landscape into the future, what the jobs of the future are going to look like, what kind of skills you should prepare for those jobs, and how you play into it generally. I'm not going to waste any much of our time. I'm just going to, let me use the opportunity to appreciate my colleagues, Uche Pedro of Bella Naija and Aziz Salau of Community Action for Food Security. The three of us were generously supported by the Gates Foundation to understand what the needs of the Nigerian and the African markets would be over the next 10, 20, 50 years. We've had our first set of research, and this is the outcome which I'm sharing with you today, so this can inform what you do into the future. We believe that in the next 10 years, and we've seen this happen before, it would happen again. Some jobs would no longer exist. So many years ago, people who were typists, who type in offices, were hot cake. They were the happening things. Oh, you know how to type. What's your speed per minute? And people got jobs based on that. Today, nobody is going to hire you because you type fast, except you work as a stenographer in a court. So, but with the absence of that job, a lot more jobs have come on stream. So, in the future, tomorrow, these are the industries that we have found in Nigeria and across Africa that are going to matter for you and for me. In no particular order, of course, you can check where you fit into this. In no particular order, we have agriculture, we have technology, we have information and communications, we have energy and power, we have education, we have the creatives industry, we have economics and investment, we have healthcare and pharmaceuticals, we have real estate, and finally we have transportation and logistics. Now, we see that AI, artificial intelligence, and the advent of new technologies are changing what job used to look like 5, 10 years ago. That is going to change a lot more into the future. But we have found that it is constant. People would eat in the future. People would travel in the future. People would live in houses in the future. And so this is why some of these things matter. Now, the top 10 skills that we believe will be relevant for the future, I'm just going to mention this. And of course, because many of us here, we are in school, we still have the opportunity to pivot, to fine-tune our parts, to decide what we want to do for our future. So the first would be software engineering. Of course, I need not say anything about that. Second, product managers, people who are in UI, UX, and all of that. Third, cybersecurity, data analysis and data science, behavioral economics, healthcare skills, agri-tech, creatives, teaching, teaching and education. Teachers are going to be very important in the future. But it will not be teachers as we know them now. Be teachers who can speak computer languages. Teachers who can teach remotely across different parts of the world. And finally, cloud computing. Now, if you do not belong into any of these 10 categories I've mentioned, it's fine. But what we are just here to tell you that going into the future, you should prepare. You should start thinking of, okay, how do I align what I currently do into that? As a journalist, I found out that 53% of my job can be done by ChatGPT. So, ChatGPT and the rest of artificial intelligence is probably at the worst state it would ever be. So if it gets better into another 5 years, I may not have that job again. So I'm thinking, what else would I be doing in that future? And this is one of the reasons why we are doing this research. So for you, you should also think about it. I studied food technology at the university. Food technology was very important when I was getting to the university. It's not as important, of course, as we found. Food is still important, agriculture is still important, but not in the way I was taught. The things I was taught will probably not be useful in the next 2-3 years. So pivoting is something that we must be ready to do at every point in time. Finally, before I finish this speech, another 100 people would join the job market across Africa without a job. And that is the trend that is going to continue. It is estimated that about 50,000 people come into the job market every day looking for a job. So, if you fit into this skill system, you would be one of those people that immediately you get into the job market snaps you up, and you add value to your country and to your economy. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you think about this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayowa Tijani. I'm sure a lot of us found his session very useful. I hope that we were taking notes of the industries that he talked about and the skills that he spoke to, which are very important in the future of work in Africa. All right. Debaters, are we ready? Obviously not. Debaters, are we ready? Debaters, are we ready? All right. So we'll be going into our debate round 2, which will be the final round for the semi-finals. I think that once more we should put our hands together for the teams from the University of Lagos and the team from University of Ibadan. They did a very good job. For the second round of the debates, we would have teams from the University of Ilorin and Bayes University. University of Ilorin will be proposing the mission, while Bayes University will be opposing the mission, and they'll be speaking to arguments on the topic automation and artificial intelligence will escalate youth unemployment in Africa. Automation and artificial intelligence will escalate youth unemployment in Africa. Representing the University of Ilorin, we have Ms. Olorunyomi Adebimpe Covenant and Ms. Ayondele Peace. Please let's put our hands together for them. Representing Bayes University, the opposition team, we have Ms. Mesomachi Erugo and Mr. Divine Maraizu. All right, so we'll have the first speakers from the University of Ilorin to give the opening arguments. Please make welcome Ms. Olorunyomi Adebimpe Covenant. Remember, you have 5 minutes for your opening arguments, and there's a timer right in front of you. Please speak within the time that you have.
I am a radiologist, and suddenly I work in a hospital and a laboratory, and I go to work one morning to see a notice on my desk that I have been displaced because of organization's policy. Why? Because they want to adopt AI systems which can now analyze medical images and macrograms, which is basically what I do, but it does it better. Or I'm a cashier who works in a supermarket, and I go to work one morning to see a notice of termination on my desk just because they want to adopt self-checkout machines, which is basically what I do, but it does it better. This is what automation and artificial intelligence does. It is much more appealing to employers because it is efficient, infatigable, and can be programmed to obey companies' rules and policies in terms of checks and balances compared to human labor. What is our claim in today's debate? Our claim in today's debate is that automation and artificial intelligence will escalate youth unemployment in Africa. Now, let's understand the definition of terms today. What is automation? According to the Webster's Dictionary and Britannica, automation is the use of machines or computer software to perform tasks that ordinarily are done by humans. In other words, it is the process of replacing human labor with machines and algorithms. Artificial intelligence is the simulation of human intelligence in machines. In other words, it is the ability of machines to perform tasks that would normally require human intelligence, such as making decisions and understanding natural languages. What are the greatest causes of unemployment in Africa today? According to a study by the African Development Bank, lack of skills and lack of jobs are the greatest causes of unemployment in Africa today, which shows that there is already a state of unemployment which artificial intelligence and automation will escalate. Now, the word escalate, what does it mean? It means to worsen, which means that the motion already agrees that there is a problem. And the facts and the topic of today's debate is the fact that is it going to escalate or will it not escalate? Now, according to the World Economic Forum, the adoption of automation technologies such as AI and robotics will displace 80 million jobs by 2027. As digital technologies replace traditional jobs, new jobs are not always created at the same rate, which leads to a net loss of employment. One of the most notable examples of automation displacing human workers is the case in Africa, in South Africa. The sugarcane industry initially employed about 30,000 individuals by the early 2000s. And by 2012, it had displaced about 10,000 workers out of that 30,000 because of the adoption of harvesters and loaders. What are the advantages? Yes, opposition will come and say that AI is good, automation is good because it is efficient and it promotes division of labor. Yes, we agree with that. But now, what is the impact of it in employment in Africa? The advantages of artificial intelligence are so numerous that it shows the potential to displace youth from employment in Africa. Tasks that would normally require human intelligence can be done by automation. Now, what is our solution in today's debate? Greatest Nigerian students, to every problem that is proposed, there is a solution. And whoever wins this debate today is the team that acknowledges that there is a problem of unemployment and will be further escalated by automation and can provide a solution to this problem. Now, already looking at the benefits of artificial intelligence, ladies and gentlemen, we present a model to you today that acknowledges that AI and automation has come to stay. We know that. And I know that is why Leap Africa chose this debate. However, how do we scrap off and mitigate the negative effects that it will have on unemployment? We present to you the 360-degree model on diversification of the economy, which has two major pillars: education, vocation, and entrepreneurship development. The question is not now if Nigeria has the funding for automation or AI. It is, are we ready if it comes, because foreign investors are always ready to bring their innovations into bare and fertile grounds, which is Africa. A few months ago, I was selected by the United Nations Millennium Campus Network to become a Millennium Fellow. And I'm currently working on SDG 4, which is quality education. Now, what am I working on? The name of my project is the African Renaissance Learning Partnership. Renaissance means rebirth, which means that it agrees that there is already a problem in the educational sector because it is too theoretical. Now, what does this project involve? It involves the acquisition of skills and also trying to incorporate practical innovations into education, such as debates and skill acquisitions that can further boost and diversify the economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was the first speaker from the University of Ilorin. We'll now listen to the first speaker from Bayes University, Ms. Mesoma Erugo. You have 5 minutes.
Our intelligence is what makes us human. Artificial intelligence is an extension of that intelligence. Our panelists today told us that if you were once a typist, you can no longer be doing such jobs anymore. The world is fast evolving, and the things we used to do in the past can no longer be things that we would still do today. Artificial intelligence has dramatically improved our world in different ways, in ways we cannot even imagine. But there are many concerns regarding the impact on our employment and the various things the various credibilities of our workforce. And the credibility of our workforce. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Mesoma Erugo, and today I will be presenting a compelling argument to say that automatism and artificial intelligence will not escalate youth unemployment in Nigeria. As we all know, unemployment has always been a pressing issue in Nigeria. It didn't start today. Artificial intelligence did not start it. I will be presenting 3 arguments to support my stance today. First, that automation and AI will not escalate it, but only bring more jobs and provide more jobs for the Nigerian economy. Secondly, automation and artificial intelligence can enhance the skills and productivity of the youth. And thirdly, automation and artificial intelligence can foster innovation and entrepreneurship in Africa. First, let me begin to address the claim that automation and artificial intelligence will destroy jobs and leave the youth unemployed. This is a common fear that has been raised by every emerging technology that has ever arisen in the world. There's always this fear that something is going to take away the human beings and what they can do. But today, I stand here to tell you that even in the times where we had the Industrial Revolution, it replaced manual jobs with machines, but however, it created new industries and occupations that required higher skills and education. Similarly, automatism and artificial intelligence can create new opportunities for the youth of Africa, especially in sectors such as the health sector, the educational sector, finance, and agriculture. According to the World Bank, the technology sector in sub-Saharan Africa has been growing rapidly, with a compound annual rate of 10% between 2010 and 2018. Now, let's look at the financing and banking industry in the world. Automatism is already transforming the finance and bank industries. We have chatbots, we have Zenith Bank recently introduced their Viva, where you can actually chat with an artificial intelligence assistant who would help you if you have any bank issues or bank transactions. This is one way that artificial intelligence has helped to aid our world and our African economy even better. This will create opportunities for professionals skilled in data analytics, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence development, and create job opportunities for finance experts. Secondly, automatism and artificial intelligence will only enhance the skills and productivity of our youths in Africa. Contrary to the assumption that the automatism and artificial intelligence will replace the human workers, the reality is that most of these tasks usually require both human capabilities and machine capabilities. So our youths will not even have to spend time doing things that they shouldn't ordinarily be doing, but also acquire new skills to do more than they can ordinarily do. Furthermore, artificial intelligence can help the youth to improve their productivity and their performance. Education and training would also provide, artificial intelligence will also provide them with education and training. For instance, artificial intelligence powered platforms such as Data Camp can also provide us online courses to learn and equip ourselves. Let me demonstrate how automatism and artificial intelligence can foster innovation and entrepreneurship in Africa. Automatism and artificial intelligence can empower the youths in Africa to become innovators and entrepreneurs. It can help them to present a business outline, to even develop business strategies that they can use to create business opportunities for themselves and become entrepreneurs. To further buttress my point, artificial intelligence will not escalate youth employment, but help youth acquire necessary skills for the jobs of the future. The future is evolving every single day, and we need more skills. We need to equip ourselves to be ready for the future ahead of us. We must embrace lifelong learning, develop digital literacy, cultivate critical thinking and problem-solving skills in our nation. I would like to conclude by saying that African youth can be at the forefront of this transformative journey, equipped with the ability to create, innovate, and shape the new era of technology-driven opportunities on the continent. Africa must invest in artificial intelligence. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the first speaker from Bayes University, the opposition team. We'll now listen to the second speaker of University of Ilorin to give us their supporting arguments. Please make welcome Ms. Peace Ayondele.
It is imperative to reiterate that there already exists a status quo in Africa, that there is unemployment. So we already we are already declaring that stand that yes, unemployment is a thing already. Our stand in this debate is that automation and artificial intelligence will escalate youth unemployment in Africa. Why do we say this? Artificial intelligence and automation are highly versatile. The versatility of this program poses a hindrance to the manpower in the employment space. So my opponent would propose this, or is saying that this artificial intelligence and automation will not increase unemployment. While that is fine, I'll draw your attention to a report by the World Economic Forum that was released on the 23rd of April 2023, a few months ago. The report showed that in 2027, there would be an increase. So artificial intelligence would reduce the number of opportunities, job opportunities, by 83 million. So yes, there will be number of businesses that will be displaced will be 83 million. They further pointed out that 69 million new job opportunities would be created. So there is a margin, there is an imbalance. You are bringing out 83 and you are putting in 69. 14 million people, job opportunities would be displaced. This already highlights that there is a problem. And as change makers, we have come to propose our model. My chief speaker mentioned, she talked about our 360-degree model, inculcating education, vocational skills, and entrepreneurship skills. And that is what we are working with. Emphasizing entrepreneurship skills and vocational skills will involve and emphasize inclusivity on the part of people, the ignorant ones, the illiterate, that are unable to sustain or change or blend to the trend in the that automation and artificial intelligence would cause. So when you begin to equip, when we advocate for increase in vocational training, increase in entrepreneurship skills, what it does is that it increases, in fact, the SMEs, small and medium enterprises of Africa, thereby increasing even the GDP of Africa, because SMEs, according to a research by the LSEG Africa Advisory Group, SMEs contribute 60 to 80% of job opportunities in Africa and about 40% of the gross domestic product. So when we inculcate and advocate for increased vocational skills, increased entrepreneurship skills, we are increasing SMEs in Africa, thereby increasing, even boosting the overall economy of Africa and reducing whatever impact that automation and artificial intelligence would propose. Why should you care about our solution? You should care about our solution because we have not only pointed out issues that are reiterating or that automation and artificial intelligence will cause, but we have also provided models that will act as shock absorbers to cope or to guard Africa against having tons of unemployed people in the continent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Interesting arguments there. We'll now listen to the second speaker from Bayes University, Mr. Divine Maraizu.
Ladies and gentlemen, one thing you must notice from our opponents is that when they talk about the replacement of artificial intelligence, is that it replaces specific tasks and not jobs. And that was done in the first speaker's speech. You see, artificial intelligence doesn't replace jobs. It actually replaces specific tasks that have been trained on by data. So what this essentially means is that human beings now can then focus on more other important tasks that employs their creativity, their communication, and their empathy. The importance of this is that it then increases their productivity. Why is this important? Because now workers can no longer have to be engaged in boring, repetitive tasks, but rather another labor-intensive role, but they can either improve their efficiency. The impact of this argument is that if organizations and entrepreneurs can save costs on mundane tasks, they can be able to further expand on other locations. They give you the example of a South African company who shut down 10,000 workers because of the sugarcane factory. We say that this is done because companies can then see, they can expand. When they save costs on mundane tasks, it then means that they can open branches in other parts of the world to further meet the food crisis shortage that is there and create more jobs for people in those other locations. But furthermore, they started talking to me about, in the health sector, about how this affects things like radiologists. First of all, notice that we're currently having a health shortage crisis. And what this means is that radiologists are not able to meet people in rural areas who might be there, who might need access to radiologists. AI services enable individuals to be able to read this data from rural area and be able to send it to the medical professionals. But more to that, it also enables them to be able to get this data, and individuals can still speak to the doctors. But more to that, even if in the short term, there are certain jobs that will be disrupted by automation and AI in the long run, these techniques do not open up more sectors and jobs, but rather they increase. But even in the long run, these technologies open up more sectors and jobs that increase the overall economic growth of the continent. We say that artificial intelligence does this. But more to that, why should we continue in this trend of artificial intelligence? Because we want to solve the current situations that plague us in society. How do we solve this trend? It's by not doing the same thing over and over again. Because the definition of that is insanity. We need to solve this by implementing artificial intelligence. Notice how all the points that are brought to you today doesn't solve how we advance as a society. AI can help you to fix the issues that currently face us as a society. Automation is not there to replace jobs. It enables individuals to reskill. How do we reskill? The technology trend is already advancing. So when individuals reskill, they can be able to see that they can compete competitively in the global market. Thank you.
Automation and artificial intelligence will escalate youth unemployment in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the topic, and we have listened to both the first and second arguments from our teams. We'll now listen to the cross-examination from the University of Ilorin. Please make welcome Ms. Peace Ayondele.
Okay, the opposition has shown us the benefits of artificial intelligence, enhancing skills, new industries, creation of new opportunities. We are not exactly against any of these points that you have raised. My concern is that you have failed to show us the comparative analysis from your hand as to how your claimed advantages of AI, artificial intelligence, and automation will tackle the escalation of unemployment in Africa, which we have presented to you from our whole hand with our 360-degree model. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now have, representing Bayes University for the cross-examination, Mr. Divine Maraizu.
The question is this. How do you ensure that in a global competitive index that we live in today, individuals can still be able to reskill? Oh my God.
Thank you very much. We'll go straight to the closing arguments from both teams. Please make welcome for University of Ilorin, the proposition team, Ms. Covenant Oloriyomi.
From the model nature of automation or artificial intelligence, what it simply means, automation, automatic, it means that it is to reduce labor involvement, to reduce manual involvement. Coming to place means that you are going to talking about the employment now situation. It means that there are going to be lesser people that are going to be involved, creating significantly lesser jobs. So we should put that in consideration. And this will worsen the situation because people already don't have jobs in Nigeria in the first place. So whichever jobs you're going to be creating will be significantly lesser because automation automatically reduces human involvement. And the number of youths in Africa with basic ICT skills are about 26%. Wherever, according to Statistica, youths that with basic education in Nigeria, including primary and secondary education, are about 56%, which means that going to secondary schools to talk to them about vocation, to talk to them about training, to talk to them about skills will be more effective because there there are more students in schools than youths in Africa who have these basic ICT skills. So the jobs you are creating cannot include everybody.
Thank you very much, University of Ilorin. We'll now listen to the closing argument from Bayes University. Please make welcome Ms. Mesomachi Erugo.
Ladies and gentlemen, the argument today is not about unemployment, but focusing more on the artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence has brought more employment opportunities for youths in Africa today. Artificial intelligence has come with not job loss, but innovations. We have to harness the opportunities that artificial intelligence has brought to our economy today. Artificial intelligence has provided jobs. Now we need our youths to equip themselves with the necessary skills. There are people today who are AI ethicists. There are new jobs that artificial intelligence is creating for us today. We must employ ourselves and get these skills to harness to put ourselves into this job market. There are so many jobs in the AI field, but there are no people, our youths are not equipped today to actually take on those jobs because they've not gone to do these adequate researches. They've not equipped themselves with the adequate skills that they need to even be involved in the job market. Africa must involve and invest themselves in AI research. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we have come to the end of the arguments. Well done to both University of Ilorin and Bayes University. You have both delivered brilliant arguments today on the topic that you were giving. We'll now go to remarks from our judges, and this time around, I'd like to start with Ellen Ukpi.
Okay, can you hear me? I think it's good. Okay. Again, well done to the debaters. So maybe I'll start from University of Ilorin. And maybe my first feedback is actually to all the debaters. You were very dependent on your prompts. So the idea of having a paper prompt is not for you to read from it. It's for it to guide your argument, right? So we noticed a lot of you, your eyes were on your paper and not on the audience or engaging the audience. So there was a lot of reading that was going on. So just take note of that for future cases. This is again for University of Ilorin. The first speaker, you spent a lot of time actually arguing for your opponent. So a lot of your facts that you gave actually highlighted more about AI, and I sense you were going somewhere where you wanted to, break that down, but you didn't spend enough time telling me the dangers of AI. You spent more time telling me how AI is a tool, how AI is enhancing jobs, and at the end, you had more positive words for AI than against AI. Which was your argument? For the second speaker, you would have loved to see more practical examples of how AI is not taking away jobs. So the argument wasn't that AI is creating jobs, it was that it was taking away jobs. It would have been good to see more examples. And again, same thing, there was too much reading from your paper. For the second speakers, again, you had good use of time in the sense that you used your time within the time limit, but you didn't use it properly to make your argument. You had enough time to make stronger arguments. So good use of time is not just staying within the argument, it's also using your time properly to make your argument as a whole. And lastly, for the first team, the SME point didn't actually critique AI because AI can actually be a tool for SMEs. So you didn't showcase how AI is not destroying SMEs, which is what your point should have been, but AI is actually enhancing SMEs, which was the point you should have, or the second team should have been making. So that's...
Thank you very much, Ellen. Would now like to hear from Mr. Joseph.
Okay. You didn't attempt to pronounce the surname. Okay, thank you so very much. I like the vibes of this last debate, but again, still similar to the to the first set of debate, I see that we are not providing believable evidence of how emerging technologies has improved the way we do and how young people engage the economy in Nigeria. So for instance, I would have loved Bayes University, who were pushing for that this was not going to escalate youth unemployment, to have delved a bit into the transitions that have happened in the banking industry, for instance, to see how that has improved either new jobs or how that has impacted on the way we knew the banking sector throughout to now. So I think there's still a lot that has to be done with regards to the use of data and how effectively you can use that to advance your point. I think also we seem to lump the whole idea that AI will have some inherent evil around it. And I think that again led to the spin of the debate to seem as if AI in itself was dangerous, it was evil, but there wasn't any real effort to show that, okay, this is how this will impact Africa. And there was no example of, for instance, a specific country that we can cite that the advancement in automation and AI has indeed destroyed young people's capacity to thrive. We didn't find that example. So for instance, also, we didn't also see any categorical statement on if African countries have shown any willingness to embrace the myriads of AI automation technology that is out there. So we need more of data to enable us to reach some conclusion on this. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph. We'll now listen to Mr. Mayowa Tijani for the final remarks.
Thank you. I'll start with University of Ilorin, of course, first speaker. I particularly like the use of anecdotes, the radiology coming to work and not being able to do their work. That's like a real-life example of something that has already happened. We also saw some good use of data at the beginning of that. There was also a battle with time with that particular speaker, so much so that they were rushing what they had to say, and the speed was not particularly good for holding the audience throughout the conversation. For the from the first speaker from Bayes University, I know that these two words are very close. If you check the meaning, you probably even be lost thinking it's the same thing. But there's a difference between automation and automatism. And in the course of your speech, you constantly mentioned automatism. And it's, in some context, it was correct. In some other contexts that you used it, it was not. So yes, that's something to watch going forward. There was also a lot of reading. At some point, it felt like some of the speakers generally were trying to read out what they were saying. And I feel like we have more time to put out things from our minds. The second speaker from Bayes University, one of the things that we saw with the first speaker syndrome about forgetting your lines and trying to come back, you also forgot your lines, but you did not make an attempt to come back, which I do not think was a particularly good sight to behold. Largely, and this goes to every of the speakers, you have a short time. It's better to leave us with one story, one example that every one of us can remember, than to try to tell us too many things that at the end of the day we don't even remember what you're trying to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayowa. I'd like us to put our hands together for our debaters and also for our judges. I must say that I do not envy our judges right now because they have a tough job. All our debaters have been phenomenal. Well done, guys. We'll come back to our judges later to get the results of today's debate. I'm sure that we're excited for that. But before we get there, I'd like to call on a brilliant young man who happens to be a student of the Lagos State University. We've been speaking a lot today, and there is power in the spoken word. So I'd like to call on Mr. Temiloluwa Bolawole to give us a spoken word piece. Please put your hands together for him as he comes forward. Keep the applause going. Keep the applause going. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Are you excited? If you're excited, can I see your hands? Great. Okay, so we've listened to different youth speakers yarn. Yes, we've listened to different youth speakers yarn. Beautiful words and beautiful messages. Well, before I go into my short piece, it's very short. I want us to go over the national anthem. Maybe 15 seconds. Just go through it in your mind. Arise, O compatriots. Now, to the second stanza. All right. Can you raise your left hand up and your right hand on your chest? For peace and unity, help our youths the truth to know. We are in a part of the world where culture is prevalent. And the prevailing culture is the culture of silence. Certain things are better left unspoken. They are better off concealed from the open. Like who created the creator? And the pain we are forced to bear beneath this mask society forces us to wear. But I dare to defy this culture and break the silence. With the few seconds I have left, address issues that yearn to be made right. Like the stories untold of barefoot dreams on pavements cold day and night, not just the street child's plight, but also women deprived of their rights. I pledge to be the youth that unveils society's hidden truth, for peace to reign and quench our flames of pain. But how would there be peace when there is no justice? For 14-year-old Zainab forced to become a Mrs., structures must be in place to deter this, because cultures like this in the past, they must exist. So dear youth speakers, pledge to speak. Pledge to use your voice, pledge to be heard. Help society the truth to know. And justice reign. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Temiloluwa. There's so many ways that you can yarn. There's so many different ways that you can make use of your talent to support the creation of the change that we want in Nigeria. And whatever it is that you can find to do, please do it well, so that we can all see the actualization of the Nigeria we want. Once again, let's put our hands together for Temiloluwa. We are already breaking that culture of silence. Who agrees with me that we are already breaking that culture of silence? And we will do it respectfully. All right. I'd like to call on another brilliant mind from Leap Africa. Trust me, we have a lot of phenomenal people at Leap Africa. One of the things that we have planned for us today is a career fair. And like I said, we have some employers with us in the room this afternoon. And I'd like to call on Joy Amanabo, who is a Senior Programs Coordinator at Leap Africa, to talk to us about some of these opportunities and to also introduce us to some of the employers that we have with us in the room today. Please put your hands together for her.
We are Lasso. We are Lasso. We are Lasso. You're not sounding like you're great. We are great. Give me the energy. We are great. Nice. So like our host said, there are many ways to yarn. And I'm going to tell you a quick story of one yarn that I had to yarn. About 8 years ago, I was looking for a job, and this was my very first job. Basically telling you how I got this first job. So about 8 years ago, I had been applying and applying, and nothing was coming forth. And so this day, I decided to just get into the streets. I was working on the street. I had my CV with me. And then I saw this organization working with young people or children with disabilities. And I felt like, oh, I think I want to do something like this. And I just got into the office premises. I met the receptionist, and I'm like, is your CEO around? And he's like, do you have an appointment? And I said, no, but I do have an opportunity that I would like to share. And he's like, okay, hold on. Let me go speak with her. And, you know, it was exciting that she was even on set. And then I had the opportunity. I got in. I sat down with her, and I told her how I love to work with children, because I'd been doing some stuff with children who had been sexually abused. And I told her about the volunteering opportunities I had to plug into working with children who had been sexually abused. And I really wanted to work with children who, you know, were disabled. And, of course, have an opportunity to learn how to deal with them. And so she said to me, well, I don't have a vacancy, and I don't know if I can pay you what you want, but do you think you can be a PR? So it felt like she was trying to create an office for me. I had no idea what being a PR was. And I'm like, sure, I can be a PR. It's like, okay, do you have your CV? Yes, ma. I gave it to her. She's like, okay, resume tomorrow. And I'm like, whoa. So I went there to yarn, and I got a job. Right. So what we're doing for you this morning with the career fair is, unlike me, you're not having to go into the streets, but you have an opportunity to interact with employers right here. Does that sound like a good one? Please, a round of applause again. And so we have some employers here you'll be interacting with. You get to learn about what they're doing, see if it aligns with what you want to do, see what kind of skills they have that you need to have to plug into what they do, see if they have opportunities for you or opportunities that you can even offer to them. All right? We basically have 2 employers in the room this morning. We'll call them up to share about what they're doing, and you can engage with them afterwards. And guess what? We have refreshments lined up for you. So don't be in a hurry. You know, when we said refreshments, we're not joking. So we have refreshments waiting for you. So chill, relax, be all right, and you'll be well taken care of. See, tell your neighbor, well taken care of. Well taken care of. All right. So quickly, I'm going to be bringing up one of the employers in the room, Soilless Farm. We'll have Sandra Atta, who is the Business Development Manager at Soilless Farm, come speak to us. Please, keep clapping until she gets here. And show your hands, keep yarning. Yes, because
good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm excited to see a lot of youth in the house. My name is Sandra Atta. I'm the Business Development Manager for Soilless Farm Lab. I am grateful for this opportunity to be here. I am thankful for Leap Africa for what they have done and, you know, bringing youth together to drive sustainable change. Soilless Farm Lab is an agri-tech company based in Ogun State. Just like the name, we produce without soil. I know agriculture is one of the industries that is categorized with, you know, dirt. It is labor intensive. That is the idea that we have. But in Soilless Farm Lab, we are driving sustainable change in agriculture with technological-based agricultural systems and practices. So that's why we said we're producing without soil. You can wear your suit and go to the farm this time around with the system of production that we utilize. So at Soilless Farm Lab, we are in partnership with the MasterCard Foundation to address issues around unemployment, low youth participation in agriculture. And what we have done is we provide training through the Enterprise for Youth in Agriculture program. The training is a 3-month training in hydroponics.
Hydroponics is a system where you don't use soil to produce. And with that system of production, you are able to produce all year round. At Soilless Farm Lab, we believe that food production should not be seasonal because hunger is not. So we are driving sustainable agricultural practices that allows for sustainable production, and you can have food all year round. At the Enterprise for Youth in Agricultural program, you are trained on greenhouse farming, which after the 3-month program, you are set up in a cluster. So it's we have 1,000 youths being trained every quarter. So you come in, you don't even have to have any skill in agriculture. Zero knowledge in agriculture, yet you would, at the end of the training, you realize that you've learned so much, you've built capacity. You are now a global food hero, tackling the issues of insecurity and zero hunger as assigned by the SDG goals. At the area program, you are trained on greenhouse farming. After the training, you are established as an organization. So the 1,000 people come in and they are distributed into clusters. Cluster of 50. After you've been distributed into clusters, you now have registered companies. You are established as a company. You can build a greenhouse from scratch. The training is absolutely free. In the course of your 3 months training, we provide you with free accommodation. You are given stipends in that 3 months training. At the end of the 3 months training, by the 4th month, you are generating revenue as a company now. You are an established organization registered with CAC. And I am bold to tell you that we started the program this year. We have trained over 3,000 youths. We have established 60 companies. And you too can be a part of this change. You too can be a part of this program. Like I said, it is absolutely free. You can come in. If you require more information, you can check our Instagram page, aya.official, or check us on Soilless Farm Lab. We want to see youths in agriculture. We want to see youths take up challenges, drive innovations, create solutions in the agri space. This is why we are here today, to say that you also can be part of the change makers. Because in all honesty, in Nigeria today, the change we seek in agricultural space cannot be achieved if we continue to have low youth participation. We are change makers. We are very innovative. Young people are very innovative. You can agree with me that when we take up space, we do the best that we can, and we are change makers. So I am here to encourage you. I know sometimes we have a belief that we can't make it. Agriculture is a layman job. But I can tell you for a fact that the richest man in Africa today is a key player in the agribusiness industry. I also want to see you build sustainable wealth through agriculture. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Who wants to be an entrepreneur in the house? I believe we've got entrepreneurs here. Look, that's an interesting part already, for free. Please jump at it. Up next, we have our second part, the second employer in the room, Shotters. We have Ijoma Anunibe, Human Resource Manager from Shotters. Please, a round of applause for her. Please clap better, clap better. More opportunities coming.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Yes, give me some energy now. I'm standing here alone. Thank you. Awesome. So how many of you here have heard of Shotlers? Show of hands if you've heard of Shotlers. Okay, show of hands if you've used Shotlers. Awesome. Thank you. I see you over there. I see you too. Okay, so like we're all doing, we're yarning about our company. So I'm here to yarn about Shotlers. Shotlers is a tech-enabled mass transit solution for individuals and businesses. So a lot of people who have used Shotlers probably would have used it as, individuals who downloaded the app, signed up, registered, bought a ticket, and then it took them from, one bus stop. We're scheduled service. That's something you need to know. We're not on demand like Uber or Bolt. We're a scheduled service, so it means that we have times where we run. So you download our app, you register, get your ticket, and then the bus picks you up from your designated bus stop to the bus stop where you had indicated you want to go to. And we've been in business since 2017, and we currently move about 5,000 plus people daily, working professionals. Essentially what we're trying to do is build the best tech-enabled mass transit solution for working professionals. A lot of us are going to come into the workforce. How many of us are not all going to be entrepreneurs? If you know you're going to come into the workforce, you know that your career path is already into the workforce. Raise your hand, let me see. Raise it well now, be proud. Be proud. You're doing a lot of things to support people who are actually founding businesses. So be proud. If you're going to have a career like me, please raise your hand proudly. Awesome. Because me, I'm a proud career person. We can't all start businesses. Some of us have to provide support to the people who have businesses. So, and over time, in Shortlers, we're millennials and Gen Zs, really. And that's the interesting thing about us, because we're solving a problem. We're trying to change how people think about mass transit in Nigeria. We're trying to change how people think about jumping buses in Nigeria. So I'm sure if I ask you, when you start working, right, how do you want to get to work? Or as you are right now, when you start working somewhere, how do you want to get to work? You will tell me, I probably want to get to work in an air-conditioned bus. I probably want to get to work where I'm not fighting for, spaces with people on downfall. I want to get to work where, in the bus, I'm able to meet like-minded individuals. That's what we're set up to be in Shortlers. We want to provide you all of that and more. And guess what? I'm here to recruit an army of superhumans, because for you to be able to do what we do as Shortlers, to change how people think about mass transit in Nigeria, you have to be superhuman. And that's what Ikenna spoke about when he mentioned resilience, right? You have to be superhuman. So I'm here to recruit an army of superhumans, right, who are interested in revolutionizing how people think about mass transit. And thankfully, Mayowa mentioned us as one of the industries of the future. People will eat, and people will also what? People will also what? Travel. People will also, even if tomorrow they change how we travel to, traveling in the metaverse, probably just putting on some VR and moving virtually, we will still be there, right? So wouldn't you rather join us? If you're interested, say aye. Awesome. So we'll probably be at the back later, and then you can come to speak to us about ways you can join us. Something that we've done very recently is we did a Shortlers Next Gen program, right, where we brought people from all over Nigeria, applied, a lot of people, and we had close to 300 applications. And we had space for only 17 interns, right? And they came in and they showed us what the future of Shortlers would be. And that's why we're very interested, in having young people join us, because they are the ones who are thinking about the future. They are the ones who can tell us how we can leverage AI to be able to, deliver the best mass transit solution for the workforce of now and the future. So if you would like to join us, if you'd like to hear about the opportunities we have, please, I'll be somewhere at the back later. Please come and find me. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shortlers. So like we've said, hang in there. You have an opportunity to interact with them. Of course, get your refreshments, get even more gifts. So engage with them. You could get a job right now, an opportunity to start a business. Please, don't miss out on that. All right. So that's it from me. Thank you so much.
Please, let's put our hands together once more for Joy Amanabo. She has been very instrumental in putting this whole thing together. And let's also put our hands together for our employers who have spoken with us this afternoon. All right, so at the end of the event, we are going to have our employers come forward, and they'll be seated on the front row so that you can meet with them one-on-one. You can ask them whatever questions you have, and they can also give you the feedback that you need from them. All right. It's about time to disclose the results of the debates. Let me just check in with my judges that we're good to go. All right. I can feel the tension coming from this area. It's a lot. Breathe, guys. Breathe. Remember what we said. It's not just about now. It's also about what you do after this debate competition.
Okay. Well done again to the debaters, and thank you, our great audience, for engaging, listening, and staying till this hour. So we're just going to talk you through how we came about, or the different criteria for how we scored this debate round. So we had 5 areas that we're looking out for. First is organization and clarity, which carried 20% of the mark. Second is use of argument. How are they able to use or give reasons to support their resolution? Third was use of rebuttals. So how were they able to respond to their opponent or ask questions to drive or defend their point, or also drive or attack the point of their audience? Last is use of language. How were they able to use strong language to convey their argument? And then the 5th is overall presentation style. So under each of these 4 points, there's the highest score of 4 and the lowest score of 1. Now, all 4 schools that participated today were judged along these 5 lines. So how we're going to announce the winners is you have a winner for round 1 and you have a winner for round 2. And there are 3 winners today because on Monday, for the finals, we are having the winners from each round compete for who is the crown or who takes the crown home for this round of the competition this year. But we also have the second runner-up, who is going to be determined today. And the second runner-up is determined by points. So along each lines, we have points for each of the winners. So even if you did not win in your first or second round, you do have the opportunity to be the second runner-up in this debate competition, Igoyan 2023. So I'm going to hand over now to Mr. Joseph, who is going to do us the honors of announcing our winners today.
Thank you so very much. I was teasing out that the results are not on the IRF portal. Okay, but just to say that this has been a very exciting period. And please let me then announce the winners of the 2 rounds that we've had today. For round 1, between University of Ibadan and University of Lagos, it's my pleasure to announce that the winner of round 1 is University of Ibadan. For round 2, between the University of Ilorin and Bayes University Abuja, please, the winner for this round is University of Ilorin. The second runner-up position goes to the University of Lagos. Thank you so very much.
Wow. Thank you, debaters. Thank you, judges. Just in case you did not get it. Third position from this debate, the Youth Leadership Debate 2.0, third position goes to the University of Lagos. And to debate for the first and second positions, we have the University of Ibadan and the University of Ilorin. I'm pleased to announce to you that the grand finale of the debate competition will hold at the platform Nigeria on the 2nd of October, which happens to be a Monday, and it is a public holiday, at the Christian Covenant Nation, Covenant Christian Nation. Oh, right, it is now Covenant Nation, pardon me. Okay, so it would hold at Covenant Nation, Igomu, at Platform Nigeria. That's where we'll be having the grand finale. So please feel free to join us. You can also join us virtually to find out who the overall winner of the debates competition is. Congratulations to all our debaters. You have all done very well. Please let's put our hands together for them once more. All right, in Leap Africa, we like to award good work. If you are doing good work, we're here to support you, we're here to announce you, we're here to award you. And in saying that, I'd like to call up one of our program coordinators at Leap Africa who is doing phenomenal work. Her name is Catherine Busari, to call up the winners of the various awards that we have for our change makers who were part of the sustainability tract of the Youth Leadership Development Program, and who we will be awarding for the great work that they have done through the change projects that they carried out. Please let's put our hands together as we make welcome Catherine Busari. The applause can be louder. And let's keep clapping until she gets here. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for being here. Ooh, wow, it has been a day, hasn't it? If you're hungry and tired, say, yeah. I knew you'd shout that one. All right, so the next thing that we're going to shout is going to be more vibrant. So once I say Team LASU, you say activating youth voices for change. Are we good? Go Team LASU! I want energy because as soon as we finish, there's food though. So I need that energy. Go Team LASU! Can you feel the energy? It's not yet there. Go Team LASU! They're getting there, but they're not standing. So I'm not sure if they're hungry. Okay. Go Team LASU! Stand up now. Let's finish this. Go Team LASU! Team LASU people are very stubborn. All right, thank you so much for having us. We're winding down now, and we're getting to the point where we call this to a close. But before we do that, we like to recognize and showcase the good work of amazing young people that have been with us through the program. So the Youth Leadership Development Program started as far back as March, and we're now in September, so you can imagine that's 6 long months of young people just channeling their passion, harnessing themselves for change, and being a part of the beautiful work that we're doing at Leap Africa. So I would like to award a set of young people, change project team members, and we have a very special award that I would like to call the Youth Leadership Award. So I'm going to start with the teams. Or maybe let me start with the biggest award for the night, which is the Youth Leadership Award. So we had, like Towo said earlier, almost 5,000 young people across 400 tertiary institutions. And you can imagine how competitive and how rigorous the program was or has been for the last 6 months. And so we are celebrating young people that have demonstrated good conduct, young people that have been exceptional on the projects that they've served, and young people that have shown that they are indeed passionate about creating change in Nigeria. So please join me as I welcome the first runner-up of the Youth Leadership Award, Ife Oluwa Omoni Dada. Go Ife! Where's Ife? Let's keep clapping till she comes here. It's not easy. 1 out of 5,000. And to present the award, I'd like to welcome our programs manager at Leap Africa, Osarome Akenzwa, to join me on stage, and the amazing Joy Amanabo, who works with me also on the Youth Leadership Development Program. Welcome, Joy. Please join us. Let's keep clapping. Joy has been doing such hard work. Thank you. All right, and I'll be keeping them with me till we wind down with the awards. But at different points, I'll be calling key team members that have supported the process just to join us in taking pictures with the awardees. Please come over, Osarame and Joy. Good to have you. We're in sync. I see us wearing blue. See us winners. All right. Joy. Okay. So congratulations to you, Ifeoluwa, first runner-up of the Youth Leadership Award. Cameraman, where are we looking at? All right, thank you so much, Ifeoluwa. Let's clap for her again. She has done really, really good work. All right, so while our teams, 100 of them, like Towo shared earlier, had submitted proposals, and out of 252 teams that submitted, 100 teams emerged. But there are certain teams that decided, you know what, this change project, we're going to do it good, or we're going to do it well, and we're going to be recognized for it. So please join me to welcome the first runner-up of the SDG Champion Award. These are teams that, this is a team that made sure that they were very committed to advancing the Sustainable Development Goals through their projects on the Youth Leadership Development Program. So please join me and welcome Team Agripreneur. Team Agripreneur, our first runner-up of the SDG Champion Award. They are winners. We need more energy, more energy. Let's clap for them. Welcome Team Agripreneur. She's representing her team. Please join us. All right. All smiles. This is a good thing. Thank you so much, Team Agripreneur. Well done on the good work that you're doing or you've done. So I have an award category for the first runner-up of the Active Citizen Award. Are they here? Amazing. I will be calling on Team AID. Team AID, who you witnessed earlier that shared about their work, our first runner-up of the Active Citizen Award. You saw how passionate he was about advocating for change for persons with disabilities. And I think this might be a good opportunity to mention that we don't call them disabled. We call persons with disabilities. And when we talk about other people, we say persons without disabilities because we don't think that disabilities are a thing to be ashamed of. So persons with disabilities, persons without disabilities. Not person living with. No, they're not living with that. Persons with disabilities is the correct term. So let's celebrate Team AID. All right, congratulations. So we're getting to the bigger awards for the night, the bigger awards. I will start with the winner of the SDG Champion Award. The winner of the SDG Champion Award, and Towo Jesudu. Odede will be joining us. Towo supports or drives the Youth Leadership Development Program along with the team, and she will be supporting and presenting this award. All right. So the winner of the SDG Champion Award, who wants to guess? You saw them earlier. Who was here earlier was paying attention? Who remembers the team that came up first? Who remembers the team that came up first? Hannah, they're pointing at you and they're very right. Team DAM, the winner of the SDG Champion Award of the 2023 Youth Development Program Award. We need some music. Out of 100 teams, they came out tops. And Hannah will be representing Team DAM for IDPs. Thank you. Okay, so your team member is here, sorry. Let's join. You can hold that together. Thank you so much. Mr. DJ, we're getting to the champion part of the night. We need, thank you, we need fanfare. All right. All right then, thank you. So moving on to the second to the last award for the night, the winner of the Active Citizen Award. The the winner of the Active Citizen Award. All right. Do you have suspense? DJ, I need that fanfare now. I need that fanfare now. Give them a drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. DJ now. All right, I'll be inviting with me Monitoring, Evaluation, Research and Learning Coordinator on the Youth Leadership Development Program, Pamela Uzoma, to please join our presenters. All right, and the winner of the Active Citizen Award of the 2023 Youth Leadership Development Program is Team Nutritional Fight Against Deformities in Children, Team NFDC. DJ, wake up, wake up. For the champions, for the champions. All right, thank you, DJ. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're getting to the very last award. Thank you. I'll ask our programs manager to please stay with us. Osarame Akenzoa, please don't go. We still need you for the biggest award of the night. All right, the winner of the 2023, I think I said 20 too many times. The winner of the 2023 Youth Leadership Development Award. And I'll ask that Ikena, the project lead of the Nigerian Youth Futures Fund, who you heard earlier, join us while we present the award. Let's clap for him. All right. So I'm looking at the winner, but he doesn't know. Should we delay this for like maybe 5 minutes so you can just think about it? No? All right. Thank you, Ikena, for joining us. So the winner of the Youth Leadership Award for the year 2023 is Linus Daniel. Well done, Linus. Energy, energy. You just won big this night. All right. Thank you, DJ. Thank you. I love it when we celebrate amazing, exceptional young people that have come forward and decided that they will be different. And I'm sure you're wondering, how can I be a part of the debate or the Youth Leadership Development Change projects that Linus just won the award for this evening. And it's very simple. Every year, we have the Youth Leadership Development Program come up. Every year, January, March, that's when the call for applications come out. And it's open to undergraduates across Nigeria. You know, Tawo had shared earlier that we had participants from 400 tertiary institutions in Nigeria. So just imagine that you could be on stage, just like Lanus, just like Hannah, and the rest of the winners next year, also winning awards for doing exceptional work with other young people like yourselves. So please, if you're currently in the room and you're not following @Leap Africa on Instagram, you're wrong. In fact, maybe we should say that people that don't follow Leap Africa on Instagram, no food. What do you think? Makes sense, Abby. So you have to follow @Leap Africa on LinkedIn, on Instagram, just to make sure that you're updated and you're staying with us as we launch new versions of the debates and the Youth Leadership Development Program as a whole. But before I leave this stage, I would like to call on the team that makes the dream work. All of you came here, or you're here yesterday at the debates quarterfinals, and you're not sure who made this possible. So I'd like to just award the people working from the background, the real stars of the show. Let me start by calling Ijeoma Kalu. Ijeoma, where are you? Ijeoma is a program officer at Leap Africa, and she's driving the debates. Ijeoma, we want to celebrate you. Wherever you are, please come out. I'd also like to call on Joy Amana Bosch. She doesn't like to be on stage, but I'll call her out. Joy, come join us. I would like to call on Towo Jesudum. If you taste Towo and the work that she does, you know that God is good. Towo, please come on stage and join us. Somebody please find IJ. It will be a good time to celebrate her. I'd also like to call on the Monitoring, Evaluation, Research and Learning Coordinator, Pamela Uzoma, who monitors and evaluates the Youth Leadership Development Program. I need to see my team members coming out to join us. All right? All right. I would like to call Project Lead, Ikena, we're calling you again, just to come celebrate with us for doing hard, deep work. I'd like to call on the communications team represented by Joy I know not everyone is here, but Joy Igbenede, your host. When she's not a host, she's a spy at night, but during the day, she's our communications officer at Leap Africa. Joshua, where are you? If you're watching amazing videos about, Ijoma is here. Let's clap for Ijoma, guys. She has been doing amazing work. Joshua Olawi, wherever you are, don't be shy. Come outside. We want to celebrate you. Oh, hey, he's shooting. He's working again. Just doing amazing things. And I want to call on Teresa. Teresa, come and join us. Just that ease of applying on the website, being a part of the courses, come out on stage and join us. We'd like to see you. I'm not sure there are any other leapers in the room. Deborah Law, the person responsible for the social media reels that you see, the posts that you see on the page. Please come out and join us. We'd like to celebrate you. And finally, our programs manager, the real leader that works with us, Osarame, join us on stage. It'll be nice to just celebrate the amazing people behind the curtains that are doing deep, hard work. Pamela, we had called you earlier. Please join us. Please join us. All right. I think that is good enough for us to stand up now. Just say thank you. Let's clap for us. Let's clap. We're bringing in refreshments, guys. We've been in Lasso for 2 days, all the way from our office in Lekki, just to come here and be with you. It's an amazing time, and we're so excited to be here. We'd like to say thank you to our partners. Ellen is back in the room. Hi, Ellen. Come join us. Ellen is our communications manager. Please shout, Ellen. Go, Ellen. Come join us. The people want you, Ellen. You have to come forward. Amazing. We'd like to say a big thank you to our partners. The Youth Leadership Development Program is sponsored by MacArthur Foundation, Ford Foundation, and we have amazing implementing partners like Future Work Africa, Budget Nigeria. Am I forgetting anyone that I haven't mentioned? The SUG here and the SDG Club right here in Lasso. Amazing people. SDG Club, shout out to you. And the SUG in Lasso, shout out to you. All right, thank you so much. Oba Mohammed is a special mention for you here. Thank you for supporting. To our amazing volunteers, please wave. Our volunteers and ushers, please wave. We're very glad to have worked with you. Thank you so much. So ask that we courtesy and leave. Thank you. Thank you from us at Leap Africa. We appreciate you.
All right, thank you so much. I want us to put our hands together once again for our award winners. They have done phenomenal work. And they deserve to be awarded. Well done, guys. Well done. And with that, we have drawn closer to the end of the Youth Leadership Conference. To give us the closing remarks, I'd like to call on the programs manager at Leap Africa, Osaume Akenzwa. Please put your hands together for him as he comes forward.
All right. Okay. We are Lasso. How do we say it? We are what? Oh, we are Lasso. We are Lasso. Okay. Everything that we've done over the last few days and over the last year, because this program is in its second year, it's not about pomp and pageantry for us to come here and put a nice banner have you have your refreshments, have debaters speak and argue. There's a deeper calling to what we are doing. And I believe that all of you who are seated in this room today have a rare opportunity because you could have been anywhere else. Irrespective of what brought you into this room, all of you seated here could have been doing 1,000,001 things with your time. So that you came here and sat through and listened to everything that everyone has said, I think you deserve a round of applause. But one of the things we always say at LEAP is that leadership is about responsibility. Everybody say responsibility. Say responsibility. It means that we do not wait for others to take action before we do. It means that we would lead ourselves. It means that we will lead others. And then it means that, more importantly, we would lead change. One of the key things that I would like us to leave this room with today is a reflection about what you are going to do about the Nigerian situation. At the beginning of this event, somebody was asking, how many people have thought of Japa? Some people raised their hands. And some of you are already, you've resigned. You've checked out. You are tired of Nigeria. You feel like if I just get the opportunity to cross the border, I will seize that opportunity. But I want to ask you a question. If everybody who came on stage just now and received appreciation from you decided to make that decision a few weeks, a few days, a few months ago, we won't have this event today. We won't have the debate today. We won't have a program called the NYFF or the Youth Leadership Development Program, because all of us would have left Nigeria. Well, allow me to also say, we probably would not have the snacks you're about to eat, because there will be nobody to make arrangements to get the snacks down here and to serve you. So for those of you who are thinking about Japa, I'm not discouraging you. I'm only asking you to think again. Think again and think hard. Because LEAP Africa's responsibility doesn't end with the debates. There are some of you who are sitting down here who have a responsibility to do something about the Nigerian situation. And it does not have to be another debate event. Your own responsibility might be in the SDG or SUG group. Your own responsibility might be part of a community that you've joined and that you are contributing and volunteering. Your own responsibility could even be in your own local community, like the change makers that came here and received certificates for what they are doing in their communities. They didn't wait for the government. They didn't wait for the local government. They didn't wait for state government. They didn't wait for Mr. Sanwo-Olu or Mr. Bola Tinubu. They decided to take responsibility. These are the words I want to leave you with today. To the volunteers who came here and gave of their time. I know Catherine said we should appreciate you, but I want to especially ask that you give them a rousing applause for taking the time to come here. So as I close, because there's other things for us to do, as you get your food, you are going to be divided into groups. We have guests that have come. Motunde of Lagos, I also want to acknowledge her. She's at the back, and she's representing Uche Pedro here. So please, a round of applause for Motunde of Lagos. She's also come with some refreshments for you, so you better clap properly. Otherwise, it will be rationed. But I want to leave you with this, guys. Listen. What did we say the tagline is for LASSO again? We are LASSO, we are what? Greatness never happens by shouting, "We are great." Greatness happens when people that have potential to take action convert that potential into kinetic energy, which is they are taking action, they are moving. So when you live here today, it is not, well, also we are great. Yes, you are great. But let's see how great you are by your doings in your community.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was our programs manager at Leap Africa. Please put your hands together for him once more. And with that, we have officially come to the end of the Youth Leadership Conference. If you had a great time, let me see your hands up. If you had a great time, make a noise. Woo! All right. Okay, so we'll be closing now, but we still have our employers with us in the building. The employers from Shortlers will be seated here. So if you'd like to speak with them, once we're done, please come forward and speak to them. And we also have the employers from Soilless Farm who will be seated at the far, well, it's your right and it's my left, the far left. If you want to talk to them, please come forward. The employers from Soilless have free trainings for you, so please talk to them. They would also be walking you through how to set up your own businesses after doing the free training, while the employers from Shortlers are actually recruiting. Guys, you don't want to miss this opportunity. So don't worry, whether you are with Shortlers or you're with Soilless Farm, we've got you covered. Your refreshments will get to you. Thank you so much for staying till now. I will just crave your indulgence to do one more thing and we'll be out of here. All right. Can I tell you what that thing is? Okay. So I'll need all of us to please rise. Please rise. Thank you very much. Let's all rise. Thank you. The one reason why we're here is because Leap Africa thought it wise to put together all of this so that we can continue to push for the Nigeria that we want and continue to activate young people to take charge of their agency and do something to make our nation and our continent at large a better place. So I want all of us to say thank you, Leap Africa. 1, 2, go. Thank you, Leap Africa. Thank you, LASU. We are LASU. We are LASU. See you guys at the top. Thank you very much. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
The Youth Leadership Debate is a program that provides the platform for young people to use their voices and knowledge to drive conversations for national development. It is an initiative of the Nigeria Youth Futures Fund, NYFF, implemented by Leap Africa in collaboration with the MacArthur Foundation and the Ford Foundation. The 2022 Youth Leadership Debates also aims to give confidence to the voice of young people and leveraging on it as an effective tool to cause a transformed Nigeria. Its goal is to provide capacity building to young people across tertiary institutions and support them to critically evaluate information, advocate from the point of knowledge, and to collectively shape their future of Nigeria. The conversations led on the platform of the Youth Leadership Debate goes on to equip the contestants with needed knowledge to be active citizens leading a change. The NSAS protest of 2020 showed that young people can speak with one voice and cause a change. The Sorosoke movement, which means to speak up in Yoruba language, a ripple effect of young Nigerians' resistance to police brutality through the NSAS protest, was an eye-opener for government, the youth, and development agencies. Now, while it is important to encourage young people to Sorosoke, they must be guided to do it the right way. More so, institutions of higher learning have a leading role in providing solutions to the myriad of challenges facing society, cutting-edge research and innovative activities. Universities are places where young people are equipped to engage in intellectual debates that have national relevance and to provide solutions to socio-economic issues. So, Leap Africa, through the Youth Leadership Development Programs, build the capacity of young Nigerians in leadership and active participation in the nation's affairs, helping to shape the country's future for long-term development.
I am inviting you to the Social Innovators Program and Awards Ceremony this year. It's the special edition because it's the 10th time we're celebrating and showcasing young innovators in Africa, not just Nigeria. So you have to be there. The theme this year is maximizing Africa's potential through disruptive leadership and innovation. Look, young people are coming up with innovations. Young people are transforming their communities and taking responsibility because they are taking action now. You can be part of those young people. Come and learn. We have quite a number of interesting partners who are coming on board because where something good is happening, I mean, you're always going to find that there's a lot of attention there. It's happening in Abuja this time. So if you're anywhere in Abuja, make sure you are at the Abuja Continental on the 26th and 27th of October. Don't miss it. If you are one of those entrepreneurs who's doing great stuff in your community and you have the right systems and structures, or you've even been part of the Social Innovators Program in the past, then I'm inviting you to this. If you are not and you've never interacted with us, this is a great time to have that experience with Leap Africa. So we invite you to join us October 26th and 27th. We'll have some workshops, we'll have breakout rooms, we'll have some incredible speakers that you could interact with, you could learn from, and it's not about just bringing people into the room and leaving. We want to ensure that we give you the kind of support that you need beyond the event. So see you at SIPA 2023.